Isn't it okay to get lost in Las Vegas?
Oh,
I
yeah.
was thinking about this the other day. You know, my son Jesse was out in Las Vegas when we had that 70th birthday celebration, but actually was not in attendance at the big, gathering when everybody got together for the birthday dinner. Why? Because he was playing poker at a nearby casino, and I was thinking, I really respect that. I do. Some people that might have caused some kind of very, just almost abrasive kind of rift in the family. But with me and everybody accepted it. Oh yeah, he's in a poker tournament. No problem, man. Let's hope he wins, which is great.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
That also comes under the heading, Luby, of don't let it bother you. Don't let it get to you. Don't dwell on the negative people. That is a serious mistake. I mean, as many times as I remind myself of it, every now and then, I just have to jolt myself back into my general philosophy, which is, say la vie, my friends. I was reminded that my mother and her sister, who she adored, I mean, they had endured quite a bit together, including leaving Nazi Germany within weeks of the time where there would be no longer any chance to escape the tyranny of the Nazi regime and the Holocaust. And so very, very fortunate. I mean, you think about it in life, what are the chances that you would even be here, Libby? We've discussed this before. I mean, look how fragile they are and how contingent they are on the smallest, most infinitesimal margins that, if something happens just slightly differently or in timing or circumstance, you don't exist, right? I don't know. How did Mr. Lubitz meet the lovely Mrs. Lubitz?
In a bowling league. A bunch of their
Bowling
friends
league. Think about that.
college, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 6 different couples met in that league, and they're still all together today. Been married for like 40-something years.
The odds of my mother, even being in this country were, slim to none. And then the chance that she would meet my father and that somehow, I mean, as they had a moment of passion, I would be conceived. I mean, 0.0, all right? I mean, almost ridiculous. But my mother and her sister, they didn't speak for like 30 years, like the last 30 years of their lives.
Really?
Over some social faux pas. I remember my mother telling me about it, and I was thinking, Mom, that is so trivial. How could you possibly let that bug you for like your lifetime? They never spoke. I was reminded of this because all of a sudden, a cousin from the distant past has surfaced looking to research her family heritage, and she wants to know for sure whether my mother was born in the free city of Danzig, which was a territory that was between Poland and Germany. Poland said it was Poland. Germany said it was Germany. And you know how that goes. Putin wasn't around, but I think the philosophies were very similar at that time. So, there was this huge territorial thing going on. And, as far as she was concerned, it was Germany. But anyway, she was trying to confirm this. And so she reminded me, she thought that the whole family was feuding. And I was like, I remember when my mom, which this was very, late in life, she finally told me what the deal was, and it was like over something about a slight that they felt because my mother's sister, found some excuse not to go to my brother's wedding, and I believe my brother, was married in a shotgun style.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't even know. I wasn't at my brother's wedding. I didn't even know he was married.
Really?
This was years ago. I mean, like 40, 50 years ago. But anyway, maybe even longer, even further back. But, it could have been not much further back. But about 50 years ago, probably. And they didn't speak, the rest of their lives for some reason over that. It's crazy, right?
That sucks. Family has issues, but to not speak at all for that
just let it go, man. Don't let it bother you, I mean, find a way to make amends. If it means something to you, find a way to make amends, people. That's what we do, and that's a perfect introduction because we're always trying to find a way to make amends as degenerates. Are we not? Degenerates. And I feel badly now. I just have to allude to this because I was talking yesterday, and I apologize to the audience. I mean, the image of me wiping my ass is so grotesque.
I mean, you keep talking about it every day.
But it's weird when you lose the use. I mean, you don't realize how inhibiting and compromising it can be, especially to lose the use of one of your dominant limbs, which in this case is my right hand to God. Right? How many times have I had to put my right hand to God? I do, Your Honor. I do actually would be a bad choice of two words to group together there because it's always been sort of fatalistic for me. I don't know, Libby. You're only you're 0 for 1, but I think you are. I think you are going to go the distance in this one. I
I mean, I'm not
believe
going
I'm
anywhere.
taking the over. No, but we'll surely tire of your
Oh,
nonsense after a
probably.
while, and you're telling her, listen, I know this is going to work out.
Don't tell
I
her.
know Defoe's been dead for 6 years, but I think he still has a following.
I've learned to not. I just don't say anything. I pay my share of the bills, and we just leave that stuff alone.
Yeah. I feel badly though. I mean, went with this wrist thing, and we were talking about it. And I'm sorry, people. I could have used other examples.
Yes.
Jim Sarney suggested that and this would have also been applicable because it actually came up later on. No, I mean Brandon Lang didn't mention anything about masturbation, did he?
No, no. Andy did.
Oh, okay.
He in the chat went there, and I'm like, Defo actually been very good to go grosser.
Well, and this was a theory at one time, like when you had to break down your barrier about approaching like really beautiful women or women that you perceive to be extremely beautiful. Maybe you thought you were stepping up in company. You were going from the 6250 claimers at Tampa Bay, and you were going to ask out an allowance filly, and you were thinking, you started to get the heebie-jeebies about going ahead and proceeding. You say, I'll call her at 6. No, I'll call her at 7. I'll call her tomorrow. I don't want to look like I just got her number and I'm desperate. So hey, you know what? I'll wait a week. In the meantime, you're just trying to sort of build up the courage to go ahead. Or maybe I don't. Did you ever have this? See, you were always very aggressive, Loopy. I respect that about you because I was actually painfully shy as a kid in that regard and in other regards as well. Still am. Like I people say, "Hey, why don't you get up and give a speech there, Defo?" It's like I'm the last guy that wants to get up
Yes,
in front of a crowd and start talking. That's just a fact.
I was like that until high school. High school, I came out of my show, and people made fun of me for this, but I gave debate a lot of credit. I did debate, and it made you get up in front of people and perform. So that made me get over that really quickly.
You forced your way through barriers.
Yes, yeah. I wasn't gonna. I didn't want to be scared. My mom was scared her whole life, and I held her back. And I was like, I don't want to be that. Like,
It's hard to break though if it's inherent in your nature. Which
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
sure.
we were talking about this in a sporting sense with Brandon Lang yesterday, actually on our Believe podcast, and we brought up the topic, and naturally he had an extrapolation on this thing that was beyond the scope of even my imagination. But he said essentially you should turn your left hand into your own personal bidet.
Yeah, it was a weird.
I don't even want to go into the details, but if you want to catch that, it's on the
It's up.
there's a tease for our Believe podcast.
It's up.
Yeah, it's up there. BLEAV. You can check it out. Believe Podcast Network, and we're on there with a program called After Hours. Lang is hysterical on this stuff,
I think it's classic.
and yet you still were embattled yesterday. I don't know. See, this wasn't even one of your silly Twitter wars.
No, it was some random person who texted.
Where you're like screaming at Phil Shane, "What are you talking about? Soccer sucks!" And then 1,000 people are saying, "You know what, Lubie, you're a moron." I love what the world has become, man. It's just become one giant rank out fight, isn't it? The beauty of it all. Here's Trump having, I mean, should be a little bit embarrassed. No contrition whatsoever. He paid off this woman that obviously he had great desires for because what? She had a great ass. No, I don't know what the reason was. She did have a rather substantial, chest endowment, did she not? Stormy Daniels.
Yes, she's very well.
Those had to be like 44s with a bullet, man. I mean, unbelievable. So, Trump was lured in by that. A lot of guys would have been, no question. But all of a sudden, she's like horse face to him. Like, well, I mean, that was $130,000 worth of horse face and a whole lot of public scrutiny, my friend. That came in. If you wanted to cover up an affair, did the guy do a lousy job at it? There were little kids in China running around going, yeah, he was banging Stormy Daniels. It's absolutely crazy. But anyway, great stuff last night. The wrist, I can't believe this. Mayo says, and I decided that it might be the gout, which I had never had, or at least to my knowledge, a gout affect my wrist before. All right, and now it's supposedly drinking beer, and I don't drink a ton of beer, but I am drinking like a 16-ounce can of beer on a daily basis,
Maybe.
following my walk of life. And there is nothing. It's actually become my modern day version of an orgasm. That first sip after you get back, and it's not like the walk doesn't really exhaust me or anything. But with the heat, and I'm not one. You're not going to see me carrying a little water bottle with me.
Mm.
In fact, it's amazing. For as much as I schwitz, I rarely drink water while I'm playing a sport.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. No wonder I'm going to die in a couple of years.
It's not great. Yeah.
You got to change your evil ways, baby. Santana was right. Before I stop loving you, unbelievable. But yeah, so Mike says that he got the gout now in his wrist after I was talking about this.
He's saying
I wouldn't wish this on anybody. I really wouldn't.
he's felt in other parts of his body.
Oh, I have too. I mean, I had it in my knee, and I never believe it's the gout because the first experience that you have is usually with like your big toe, I believe.
Mm.
I don't know if that's always the case, but I have heard people say they get wicked bouts of the gout with their elbow. The point of the whole story is, I mean, how liberal we've become about taking pharmaceuticals. And I'm not a pill guy, Lubie. I never was. I don't like taking medications. I'll go for the shots and all of that, the vaccine. If people are checking out, I'm thinking if this is even has the slightest hell. I mean, if I was a Trump follower, I probably would have started gargling with chlorine just on his suggestion to stave off COVID-19, right? But now, I mean, I do my walk of life last night. And when I come back, I mean, it's weird because we have one of those doorways where, if somebody walks into the doorway, the light comes on, that kind of thing. But otherwise, it doesn't. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So as I'm approaching, I see the light there in the doorway, and there's like a body there. And it was our buddy Sean Mack. Mustang had said that I was struggling with, a problem with my wrist. And this guy has like his own pharmacy in his place. It's incredible. Like we always wanted the radio station. We thought they should have an in-house pharmacy where all the drugs were free and you could get whatever you wanted,
I know that's-
including recreational drugs, but certainly pharmaceuticals, to deal with management and all the different anxiety that goes along with being an on-air performer. And so anyway, he brings me over like a bag of stuff. And he was a little, I would have to say, slightly past 12 when it came to inebriation. Lubie, you know Sean Mack. I mean, he's inclined to party a little bit, like all day for like 5 straight days. And he's explaining to me what these things are. And there's no way to know, right? They're just in a plastic bag, like 5 different types of drugs.
Look, don't get me wrong. When I was going to Ultra, my buddy handed me a pill, and I was like, all right. So I've done that in my life. I was in my 20s.
I would never do it with like street drugs anymore, though, because of the old fentanyl thing. I mean, and you don't want to end up with, some kind of Molotov cocktail of pharmaceuticals. That would be a bad way to go. I don't know. Is that better than fiery crash, Libby? You know how I'm checking out. You know how it's going to happen. I'm going to get hit in the head with a coconut while wave running somewhere.
You don't even wave run anymore.
But I'll be renting one. That'll be even worse. That'd happen on like a rental in Costa Rica. That's the way I'm going to go. All right. Well, getting into all of this stuff, there was a lot of fascinating stuff in the NCAA tournament. I wanted to say this. We used to spend a lot of time on the air. I don't know. Have you done much of this? I don't recall you really getting too heavily into this during the time we worked together. And I'm not sure that you had even the opportunity to express yourself before that, which was unfortunate because it was great. You were in a very creative industry, Lubie, and a dedicated guy, as evidenced by the fact that you're still here. And yet, I mean, they wanted to make sure that they stymied any chance you had of becoming what you wanted to be in the business.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't even let you read the sports report. Can you think about that for a second? How staggeringly stupid that was.
Yeah, pretty much. What's funny, after everything, that was the job they offered me, was to do sports reports.
Right. After all of that, like 12 years into it, they go, hey, you know what? The kid can talk.
I'm like, I don't want to do it now.
Right, you're like 40 years old and you're just hoping to get a job doing 30-second sports updates for like $10 a report. And you know what? As they say at the auction, it's a start, my friends. But yeah, I mean, they would do everything in their power to, compromise your chance of doing it. And it might have been their one money making proposition when we were working at the radio station, where the station could have benefited from our presence. Amazing. All right, you're saying the Greek's coming up. I want to check out this because
Yes.
we're all over the map. We haven't even discussed these games. And
Yeah. So Big Possum was bitching about. Did you see the Gonzaga? You saw the Gonzaga last play. What? I understand where in the world you have to bitch about everything, and in sports, that's probably where that
Yeah.
all started. What is there? They were down one with 7 seconds, and the guy shot a 30-foot three. Why would you be defending there? That'd be fucking stupid.
no, I mean this was
If
such
you're
a shock.
defending that's a
Yeah.
dumbass shot. If you defend him tight, he's gonna walk right by you, get a mid-range jumper with 2 seconds left. Like that was the perfect defense there. That was a dumbass shot that the guy just made. Like it was.
Well, that was the play call, though. I mean, Diakonu, who was the guy that made the shot for Villanova? We never remember that. We only remember Diakonu because
Guy that played in
it's
the
such
league.
a source of pride that you can even come close to pronouncing that kid's name. Remember?
Chris, is it not James?
It was Archie Diakonu, too. It wasn't Diakonu. It was Archie Diakonu. Or
Archie
something.
Diacono was the guy
Yeah.
that assisted it.
Right.
Chris, what the hell's his name?
Whoever made the shot, I mean, but it was a design play. I mean, this
Yes.
Jay Wright was a hell of a coach. He's impressing a lot of people as a broadcaster. He does come across very, very well. You know what else I like? Tony's always rubbing, my face in the fact that he thinks I hate all announcers, which I don't. But Candace Parker does a very good job. Would you agree with that, Lubie?
Good, yeah, she's good.
I mean, a good presence, like a real professional
Chris
presence
Mama
on TV.
Jenkins. Chris Jenkins, yes, Chris Jenkins. But they were down, I think 3, like, or at least 2. Like a 3, they needed a 3. Like,
Yeah.
Gonzaga didn't need a 3, and there was a lot of time on the clock. When the guy set to shoot, there was 8 seconds on the clock.
Well, yeah, they got the ball back with 12.2 or something.
Yeah, there was plenty of time.
And the guy, what is it, Yaquez? Is it Javier Yaquez?
For UCLA.
Jaime Yaquez, yeah, for UCLA. He's been on that team since Walton was there, hasn't he? I've seen that kid for a long, long time.
I don't know.
He doesn't look the part, right? It reminds me, actually, and this is not to be meant in any kind of negative, stereotypical type of way, but when I used to play basketball at the Hollywood Y with Tommy Chong, he looks a little bit, his game actually resembles Tommy Chong. You're going to, appropriately laugh at that, no pun intended, but Tommy Chong wasn't a bad basketball player. Cheech, I don't know about. Cheech wasn't exactly Noel of Kansas State. He didn't come out to the game, the park there, but actually it was an indoor gym. But yeah, and that guy made a layup with about 12.2 to go. It was a remarkable comeback by UCLA. For them to lose that game in that fashion was very weird. But Mark Few said he had copied that play, stole it. He referenced the Villanova, North Carolina game, and he said that was going to be our play. We were going to have, our guy bring the ball up the court, and when he got towards the top of the key, there was going to be a trailer, and that was going to be our designated 3-point shooter, and that was the way they were going to get the 3-point shot.
Wasn't the shot from the right wing? And wasn't it like
this was a top in about. I think it was like a 40-footer. It was way past the top of the key.
Last night's was, yeah. But Jenkins' 3 wasn't. The Jenkins one's in offense. And
he was more from the wing. It was the wing. But it was the same play. If you watch the two plays, if you put them up like Zapruder film style, exact same concept, which was have a guy bring the ball up the court, and as the defense began to sag a little bit, have a trailer coming up behind this guy, which normally all of your players would be in front of the guy that was bringing the ball up the court.
Yeah.
That this guy would be flying to the corner and maybe running along the baseline trying to get rid of somebody so he could get a 3-pointer off. But it was clearly designed to just flip the ball back to somebody.
Look, you got the guy in open 3, but as a defense, I don't I wouldn't be up on him. All you're doing
no, you couldn't have been up on that guy. No way.
You're only down 1. It worked. So Mark Few looks smart, but why would you jack up a 27-foot-3 down 1?
Well, a lot of times those kind of 3-point shots, I don't think that Few envision him being that far from the basket.
Yeah, he was far.
He was barely over half court, and yet you wanted to chuck that up probably quickly because you usually get a long rebound on that. So you don't have to worry about somebody on the inside grabbing it for the opposition that has your guys all boxed out. And they still would have had plenty of time to put up some other subsequent shot if they got the ball back. So, a quick shot wasn't necessarily a bad move there. Obviously, it worked. But, and if I'm not... Oh, yeah, and you know what? There were a couple of more possessions, though, after that. That's the funny thing. That game didn't end there. because UCLA actually chucked one up with like a 1/10 of a second to go that nearly went in. That guy Campbell with the hair.
Oh, he's lying. Mick Cronin's lying. Like, there's no way you would have don't do. I guess you don't. I don't know. If you're tight on him, then he goes right by you and has a fucking layup. Like, that's literally like I wouldn't have wanted.
No, he literally was. That's the distance where your defense literally the call would be shoot it, go ahead.
Yeah, like
that would have been it. Go ahead, shoot it. I mean, you're thinking the guy what a jerk off if he puts this thing up there. Unbelievable.
Look, that's why they had him shoot it from there, because he got that extra space, and I get it. If you're crowing, you're like, shoot, he made it. We should have defended it better, but
they would have been screaming at Mark Few if he said that was his design play. If that thing had rattled in and out.
It was like a 27-foot three, and there was 8 seconds on the clock. Like, you literally gave UCLA enough time to go the entire court.
They each had another possession. No, they did. They each had another possession. There were like 3 more possessions after that.
UCLA went down, and then Gonzaga stole it and ran out the clock. But
yeah,
but that's the thing. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, what a horrible defense. I mean, I would be like, fuck, like I made a ridiculously stupid shot.
Hey, that wasn't even necessarily the most exciting game of the night. That's a funny thing.
The state was way better.
That
State game was fun.
Michigan State, Kansas State. I didn't see as much of that as I would have liked to. The FAU game, I thought FAU was just going to get sort of routinely drubbed into submission, didn't you? Even though they were down 5 at halftime, they were playing horribly. They had 9 turnovers in the first half. They really couldn't make a shot. I think they were shooting, like Miami did against Drake. And then, there was no reason to believe that the second half was going to be any different. Did you see that in that fashion? Did you watch much of that game, Lubie?
Which one?
The FAU game, yeah.
I watched the FAU game almost in its entirety, and I watched, in its entirety, and I watched a lot of the Kansas State Michigan State.
Okay, yeah, that was, I mean, among the best games, and yet you could say that about like a dozen games so far in the tournament.
I know this tournament's been great. I mean, that's why even though I don't watch college basketball all year, I don't feel bad throwing myself into this thing.
Yeah,
the games were nuts. Yeah, the UConn game was ridiculous, and I don't know where that came from because Arkansas had been playing. Really
UConn's good. I mean, they're rolling. That's where it came from.
People have said that going through the tournament, and they've kept it going. I'm just saying, like Arkansas had been doing very similar things. But the other games were really good.
Well, and here's the thing, and this brings back and ties up a point I was trying to make like an hour ago and then lost my train of thought. But because we were talking about radio. We spent a lot of time on the radio, and like I said, I don't think you did a lot of this, but you were always telling people how they should be fans. I never really cared for this, kind of conversation because, it's silly. I mean, we do some of this on the Mike Mayo Lunchbox. I mean, should you really be telling people how to eat?
No.
However you want to eat. I don't know. I mean, it's good to give suggestions about great things, and I have to say this for Mayo, man. When he got back to his thing, I mean, and sometimes you go away from what it is that you're like really gifted at. But when he wrote that review with a Carbone thing, I don't know if we may have to read that line later in the program before it comes on. But it was such, I mean, of the genre of that type of writing. I mean, this really was, it was Hemingway. My God, it was unbelievable. Shakespeare rolled into one. And could you write about food like that? I don't think so.
No. He used words I've never heard used in that form. Like he made
cheesy mesmerization. I mean, like crazy stuff he was coming up with.
Luxuriating. I guess it's a word, but I've never heard it used like a verb.
No. I mean, I have to say, I was like, wow. I mean, that's what Mayo. I mean, how was he? He was great at that, man. And so but it's hard. That doesn't necessarily always translate like into the verbal thing. But on that show, I don't know that we're telling people how or where they should eat. I mean, we're sort of trying to suggest places that are really.
I like that. I like when Mayo advises people. And gives tips. I don't. People can do whatever the hell they want. Like that's
exactly. I mean, like we say with him, if he wants to go to Skyline Chili Good, go and do it. Yeah, it doesn't mean I have to like it, right?
No way.
Yeah, but we were always telling people how to be fans. You remember those kind of conversations probably when you were growing up listening to sports talk, and you're thinking, I want to do this. This would have discouraged you from ever wanting to do this because, it's a lame argument. Well, you know what? You don't go to any games, so you can't call in here and tell me that so-and-so sucks.
I hate that. College football fans do that. Like one thing for UM, because it's a private school, most of their fans have never gone.
Sure.
Didn't go to the school and never even been to the freaking campus. Okay. Like, what the
That
fuck?
was a big thing in sports, though. This whole attendance loyalty thing, because teams, you used to actually get on your back if you hadn't been to a bunch of games, if you were a reporter. I remember kind of feeling that where, the SID or something would say, yeah, well, when was the last time you were down here, Defo? Now you
Yes.
want tickets? Eh?
That's what Marlins used to do that, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, we don't see you." I'm like, "I know, I'm working." Like,
It doesn't matter. I mean, you're about to help them promote their, business by going on the air and talking about them. Whether it's like, hey, can you believe these guys, how horrible they are, or whatever. At least you're giving them some kind of, place in the public eye.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was always lame. I mean, I don't think you could tell people what they should do or not do as fans. And this was a common thread though that always comes up, like at the tournament or hockey playoffs. So we talk about the same sort of thing, where you say, yeah, well, you haven't been into it all year. I don't think that's so bad anymore.
look, maybe when we give our analysis, you should take it with a grain of salt. Fine,
Yeah,
but don't badger someone for caring. Like, thank God that they care. Like, isn't that a good thing?
yeah.
Like, would you rather them not care? Yeah, you care. That's stupid.
Well, and you know what? The thing has been wildly entertaining. I mean, so if you just jumped into it now, which most people have, and on top of that, even people that are fans of college basketball, a lot of them, I mean, are watching far more of it now than they were before. But wow, I mean, it's just been nothing but excitement for the most part all the way through. And then everybody was saying what a crapshoot this thing was going to be, and then it was wide open. And look, it's a crapshoot. And it's fucking wide open. I mean, FAU may find its way. I mean, has a possibility of going to the Final Four if they can. I mean,
Who do they
it
face?
seems like it's odd to say, but Kansas State is probably their toughest obstacle. I know it's coming late in the tournament, and they also responded. I mean, these guys that were like unknown at the beginning of the season were at Madison Square Garden, for God's sake. I mean, holy Willis Reed. And that was a giant platform against a big time college basketball program, with Barnes on the sidelines there against this upstart guy, Dusty May. All right, we better run. We're going to get the Greek in here, and the professor, is his status remaining unknown?
I was just texting about that. He actually did give me picks, so
Okay.
I can give his picks, but he doesn't have a board with watching all the basketball. He didn't do a big board, so he doesn't want to waste
I can't blame him for that. Because that would be an awful lot to ask.
Yeah,
'Cause he is going bell to bell with this stuff.
well, usually Thursday is when he does it because he waits for the week to be done and be as recent as possible. And then he watched every game and had action on. He had a heavy action on Kansas State, and that came down to the end, but he got the win. And heavy action on Gonzaga, and again that came down to the end, and he got the win.
Wow.
Which I know was 12 something.
Yeah, he was all over the underdogs yesterday. He thought Kansas State. I mean, he thought not a mismatch, but certainly. I mean, and this is one of the things. I mean, if you were going to give any kind of degenerate advice on this program that was of any value, and this was a big polyman theory, which I agree with. If you're handicapping sporting events, never mind what the hot chick with the giant bazumbos says on TV. That may be relevant or not, but make your own line first, right?
Yes.
Okay, Dolphins are playing the Chiefs next week, and you're thinking, okay, games in Kansas City. I would have to say Chiefs. What 6 and a hook, 7?
Mhm.
All right, so now the line comes out, and it's Chiefs by 13. And you're thinking, okay, I've got to bet the Dolphins, right? I mean, I see this game being a lot closer, even trying to anticipate the largest number that you might have to go against. So, I mean, you always have to, kind of make your own line first, and then see how it compares with what the rest of the suckers in the public are going to be. Dogs, though, have to be. Mark Lawrence, he's going to be with us. Is he coming on the show? Mark Lawrence,
Yes.
playbooksports.com?
Yes.
Oh my God, he has to feel like he's at the old Biscayne Kennel Club there on what is now South Beach, when it was safe to go and bet a few dog races, and then maybe have a cup of coffee at Wolfie's Rascal House and eat the free rolls. That ain't happening anymore, Lubie. Now you're paying $400 for a dinner at Carbone and worried about the fact that when you come outside to get your car from the valet, A, it won't be your car, and B, you might get shot at. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, God.
They're sugaring it down there.
In South Beach, of all places, like that's That's weird.
South Beach used to be a bunch of out the cockers in rocking chairs. It was God's waiting room, literally. I
I'm not even
think
talking about.
whoever came up with that concept about Florida being God's waiting room, what was at the Surf Comer Hotel on South Beach.
Yeah, look, and into the early '90s, it was like that. But to me, Mayo talks about an establishment cultivating a customer base that they want. That's South Beach. Everything's so fucking expensive. You're not going to get
Yeah.
the hood doesn't find when you get a sashimi for $40. Like South Beach is so expensive that you don't expect something like that to happen because people who usually commit those acts can't afford that. That's what's weird about what's happening this last week. Like it's become like freaking cis trunk and I Liberty City and I don't get it. Like
It's nuts, and there's no control. I mean, I remember when Fort Lauderdale decided that they were going to clamp down on not
curfew.
South Beach, on Spring Break,
Yep.
which it's much more controlled here than it used to be. That's for sure. Yeah,
We don't have that stuff.
I haven't really driven to that Fort Lauderdale beach area on A1A in the last few weeks, but I do go down in that direction, I guess, or close to it, and. Yeah, I mean, there are probably more people here, but it's certainly not the circus that it used to be when it was just wall to wall naked chicks. Boy, that was great, Libby. You missed it.
I missed it. Yeah, they actually cracked down right when I was growing up.
Man.
And went from being a spring break destination to just a tourist destination. They sort of pushed out the spring breakers, which was annoying.
Yeah, I realized this was the deep south when I came down here one year. I had to be like my sophomore year of college. Came down here for one of the breaks, whether it was winter or spring, I'm not sure. And I was with two guys. My roommate, who was the catcher on the baseball team, this guy named Raf Yagjian, and another guy, his name was Bruce Kaplitz. And he had hair down to his ass. And didn't really. I mean, we were. I was sort of a hippy dippy, but we were clean cut hippies. I would say, me and Ralph. Anyway, so we go to the Castaways on 163rd Street, which I had no idea the geography of South Florida at that time. I'd only been there a couple of times, and I really didn't venture around that much. And you could hitchhike everywhere. You didn't even take cabs, right? Hitchhiking. All right, so we're at the Castaways. There had to be like 1,000 kids there, right? And all of a sudden, a bunch of cops roll up, and they just started arresting people for loitering. All right, and I don't know that this represented any kind of a crackdown or it was more of a shakedown, but so they haul us all off to jail, and we're thinking, well, this is bullshit. What is this? And we were very anti-establishment back then. I don't want to say that we referred to cops as pigs. I didn't really feel that way, but nonetheless, this seemed to be rather unjust.
Yeah.
Kind of like how your boy Donald Trump feels he's being treated right now. So then we find out that there's going to be no bailing out the next morning because it's Saturday night and there's no court open on Sunday. All right. So now you're going to be in there like a couple of nights. So finally we get to court on Monday after being in jail for like a day and a half. And we get in front of the judge and they told you, hey, just say, hey, it'll never happen again, judge. And you'll walk away there. And that was it. So the whole thing, maybe involved like a $10 fine.
Oh, jeez.
All right. So I get up there. I'm out. I'm waiting outside down the hall. My friend Raph comes out. And the judge looks at, I guess, what had transpired was he looks at our friend Bruce and says, son, what are you going to do about that hair?
Oh, Jesus.
In a thick Southern accent. And so Bruce, we're just praying that the guy just shuts the fuck up and says, I'm going to cut it as soon as I get out of here. In fact, I got an appointment at a barbershop right now. I made it while I was in jail. And he goes, I don't think this should be about my hair at all, sir.
Oh, no.
They threw his ass back in jail. He got out like 2 days later. Unbelievable.
God.
Loitering. But that was it. It was a deep south, right? I mean, guy has long hair, boom, off to jail. Get the fuck out of here. Do you imagine what chance did a black guy have?
Yeah, good luck.
Courts. 0.0, man. Holy Ilium Orphonius Gable. All right, we got to run. We were running like an hour ago. The Greek's ready to go, so we're coming back with some picks. Got a little more time here because the professor's not going to make it. Well, we will have his selections.
Yes.
And then later on, Mark Lawrence going to join us, and Mike Mayo, who, if his left wrist is feeling anything like mine, man, I mean, we're going to be two gimps out there on the finish line at Hill Street Park later on. Back with more in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 7:42.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752.
You really should, Greek. Your brother should go into radio sales, and you should be a shrink.
I'm an on-air talent. I'll have you know, sir. I just have the ability to do 3 jobs when most people can't do 1.
It's now time for the Defo Show.
All right, we love this guy on a Degenerate Friday, or any day for that matter, although we say that having not seen him for about 12 years. But I picture him with that fedora on, great pair of very expensive sunglasses. These aren't knockoffs that he got at some Shell station. And, well-dressed as always, right? Is it Armani that he wears, or would that be insulting?
He mixes it up. He wears many of the very high brands.
He looks like success, even when he's
Yes.
casually dressed. I remember a guy telling me, you know what, Defo, you really ought to take a look at your casual wardrobe and try a little upgrade. And I said, that's my, that's my dress wardrobe. What are you talking about? That would never happen to the Greek who joins us here on the program. And I just picture him smoking a cigar, hot babes. He's blowing them off as they come by the table and going, oh, is this seat taken? And it's not like in my case, or maybe yours, Lubie, where they just want to know if they can take the chair and put it at their table.
Exactly.
Greek, how are you, my friend?
You're too kind, my friend. You're too kind. What is happening?
Greek man.
We're doing great. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit. I don't know how we got on spring break stories, but I guess because of the chaos there on South Beach, and then our buddy Mike Mayo, the gambling gourmet, went down there. I don't know if you paid you don't care. You're not much that takes a look at the price point before you get involved in something. But would you pay 4 sticks for like a spaghetti dinner on South Beach? $400 for 2 people, no drinks.
No way. Maybe a hot babe, but not a pasta. I could get it for $6. I can make it for $3. Get a Joseph.
Yeah.
Wow.
You could have gone to Flanagan's, had the lunch special, and had the hottest hooker on South Beach.
Yeah, I mean, for $400, they better throw in 2 brunettes and wash my car and fill it up. Are you kidding me?
Remind me to bring that up with Mayo later. Yeah.
The other night I was at a place and the price came out, and I was like to the girl, I said, COVID's over. She goes, what the hell does that mean? I go, well, take off your mask. You're robbing me.
Hey, fucking Zorro, why don't you get up and I'll pay for the drinks.
I'm like, oh my
That's it.
God, you guys looking for partners? Oh God. You know, we found out anywhere in Boca, which is a great day today for two reasons. There
Yeah.
was a shipment of Botox that got dropped in overnight at the docks. But the FAU Owls,
Isn't
oh
that
my
great?
God.
Yeah. Oh, you've been riding them, man. And I'm sure you were on it again last night.
Well, let me ask you: Is Boca actually feeling this? Because a lot of college
Oh, yeah,
towns
yeah,
usually
yeah.
would be receptive to
Yep.
making to the Elite Eight, but Boca's weird.
No, man. There's more FAU T-shirts in Boca than fake racks. It's unbelievable.
Nice. That's
That
good.
seems impossible.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I would question that statistic. And you're right. They have like the DEA down there at the dock when the Botox comes in. All right,
Oh, yeah.
they're all on walkie-talkies. Yeah, it's here. It's here. Get it right out to Dr. Schwartz there.
Yeah, Boca. So I got a good story for you. The other night I'm out with this girl who was a dancer. There is an Instagram. If you go to Real Radio 921 Instagram videos, it's up there, and it's called Confessions of a Stripper.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
So we were talking.
I would imagine that was your concept.
Not really. We just started talking.
You weren't the one that brought it up at the meeting where everybody looks at you and goes Greek. Are you drinking now? I mean, what the hell?
Hey, all I can say is I know how to do one thing: make money. If the company listens to me more, we'd be in better shape. But that's another podcast. But anyway,
we'd still be employed at the company if you were running the show. Yeah.
So anyway, the girl tells me three things. You're gonna love this. So she goes, now this is for your audience. Three things they don't like. She goes, number one, we don't like when guys come to the strip club and watch sporting events. Go to Duffy's.
Okay.
Go to Duffy's.
Okay.
All right.
Number two, she goes, we don't like when guys, we're getting in a dance, she goes, and they put all the cologne on them. They like go to the bathroom, because every strip club's got a cologne. She goes,
right.
And the smell is so bad.
Yes, it's high karate. I think the guy is put in some fancy bottle. Yeah.
It was like the 70s.
We don't like that. She goes, number three, she goes, we don't like when we're done dancing and we got to go and they get mad. She goes, I got to leave. I got to make money. If you want me to stay, it's more money. And they look at you like, what am I doing? She goes, I'm dancing. She goes, the number four is you, Greek. And she kisses me on the cheek as she gets up. She goes, number four is you. The guy I give a lap dance to and looks at me like I'm lucky to be giving him a dance.
That's true. That's how you look at him.
That is you, man. I mean, as described, before you came on. Yeah.
I've seen it.
You look like you just hit the pick six at the track at all times, man.
He's the only guy at the strip club that looks disinterested.
You're right. That's what she said. Yeah, she said to me, she goes, first time I met you, I told you dance was 25, and you go, okay, I get 30.
What's the cheesiest? You don't frequent really cheesy strip clubs, do you? I agree.
No. I live at Monroe is my big sponsor.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge strip guy. I will go, but I'm not.
Wait a minute. Come on, Greg. Every time we've met you, it's at a strip club.
I mean, he's making money. You're a sponsor. I give him credit.
Or you're with a stripper, or you're talking.
They're dancers. They're dancers. They're dancers for Juilliard who sprained their ankle.
Yes.
And now they happen to be with me. That's all.
Drafted by the Phillies.
Yeah. Like I told the story the other night. It's like seeing reindeer with Santa. It just happens.
So that's actually an excellent prelude to where I was going to put to you at the beginning here, which is were you much of a spring breaker back in your youth, coming from the Northeast?
Working since he was like 6.
Yeah.
No, it was beneath me, to be honest with you. Like Super Bowl row, that stuff beneath me. I never went there. Like if I told my old man I was going to spring break, he would have laughed at me. Like, what are you doing out there?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that being the truth.
Kids want to go down there, get drunk, and party. It is a shame, on a serious note, what they're doing to the area and how much they're hurting it, and all the people who live there and the residents. And it's bad down there. I mean, people are getting clipped.
Yeah,
it was
weird.
different when we were growing up. But did I go to Lauderdale? Not Miami. I think I went to Lauderdale one year. I was young though. I think I was like a junior in high school or sophomore. But I wasn't like for the big, hang out with all the, crazies and do stuff like that. That I just wasn't like that. My old man had a couple rules and they were very small. And one was like, don't act like an idiot and get drunk and, be stuff like that. I never drank because I didn't want to get kicked out of the family. I'm like, who wants to get kicked out of here?
Exactly.
I ever tell you a story? When I was a junior in high school, my parents were divorced, so it was rare that my father, maybe twice, he came in the house in my whole childhood because my parents were divorced. One time they came when I was like 13. They found $43,000 in a Tom McCann shoebox.
43 dimes at 13 you had stashed.
13.
What had you done?
What were you doing?
No, I was working in a pretzel factory and I was working at the amusement parks. I've told you that many times. And I was, I was a kid. I was making, $500-600 a week and just burying it.
Beautiful.
So, my mother found it and she called him. She goes, I found a whole bunch of cash in G's closet. I pulled up that day at school with my car service. I walked up the driveway and I saw his car and I saw the box on the table. He goes, what the hell is this? I go, I think 43.5.
Yeah, you find your 12-year-old kid with 43 dimes in a shoebox. You would have to assume maybe he's selling arms to the Chinese or something.
Exactly.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe the Sandinistas.
There was a lot of kids that were running away in the area.
Yeah.
In my town. It just something was happening. They were running away. So he walks in with my mom.
Great Neck? I mean, where was this?
In Jersey, nice area.
Oh, Jersey, okay.
They were just running away, yeah. So they sat down, and my dad's like, are you okay? Anything wrong? I said, no. There's a lot of kids running away. Your mother was worried. The school called. I said, I ain't going anywhere.
Got him made in the shade, man.
I'm good.
I'm creaming those suckers on the wild, ride there at the park. It's great, man. Putting every pen in my pocket.
What are you nuts? I said, handcuff me to the chair. Who's leaving it? I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? It's like one of the Kardashians saying they want out. I'm not going anywhere.
So, I mean, this is great, Greek, because you also have some kind of serendipitous luck that goes along with this whole approach that you have to life. And you somehow have some keen instincts in terms of what bandwagons to jump on. Mm-hmm. And so you got on this FAU bandwagon when it wasn't popular in Boca to discuss the Mighty Owls. And, Dusty May was maybe a shade of eyeshadow, more so than a basketball.
Oh, yeah. No, when you heard his name, you thought he was running that Gulfstream in the 8th race.
Who's he on? The 6th? Yeah, Dusty May's riding. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. I mean, before 2 weeks ago, Ferris Dickinson, people thought that was an entree at a French restaurant.
Yes, I like that rare.
Yeah, I liked FAU since December. You guys know that. I've been saying that. I did have a little inside information about the team, not information, just that they were really, really good, and this is going to be their year, and they were going to do well in their conference, and then they just started covering. Actually, I got wrote up in Teddy Covers in Las Vegas and a couple of big articles and magazines where he touted me as, stay on FAU. The Greek told me from, Palm Beach Sports Station about this team in December, and, yeah, I really liked them. I mean, last night the line did drop as the game went on, so a lot of wise guys were betting FAU. And I said going in yesterday on the station, you could tape it. I said if Tennessee shoots below 40% or 35% threes, FAU wins. And FAU, they shot 6 for 23. Yep, that's how Tennessee beat Duke. Yep. They were on fire from threes. In most games today, not all, if the team who has a better shooting percentage from threes wins in college and in pros.
Yeah.
And last night they were 6 for 23. I mean, Tennessee had a huge height advantage. Huge.
Oh, man, they had that lurch in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, and it happens a lot of times in sports, when FAU was not hitting, I mean, at halftime, I looked at my friends, I said, they're only down 5.
Yep.
That's nothing. They should have been down 12 or 13. And then they come out and they go on that unbelievable run. And you know what? They didn't get. It was like the Hoosiers last night. I think those kids probably walked in the Garden and a little intimidated. Greatest show on earth. And I think once they settled down, and I think Tennessee probably started looking at each other, saying, "Hey, what the hell are we doing? We should crush these guys."
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the coach. Then that kid had that technical foul. And see, that's a big swing when a team they hit a three, the guy gets a technical, shoots two, and then they get the ball back.
Yep.
I don't know about that rule. That's maybe the technicals, but I don't know about the team getting the ball back.
It was the flagrant.
It worked out.
The guy shoved the freaking kid.
Yeah, but that's a lot, though. That's 6 points, 7 points.
Yeah.
And they look, and the good thing FAU did at the end of the game, because they're running gun, they slowed it down.
Yep.
They start, because they come out and they're shooting threes. Boom. You know what I mean? So I think, can they beat Kansas State? Kansas State has that kid Norwell, who's unbelievable. Set a record last night, 19 assists, scored 20. If you stop him, you beat them. But we'll see. And I told you this week, our good friend Rick Pitino gets a job in St. John's.
Yeah, isn't that classic?
Yes, and it seemed appropriate. There are a lot of people that are detractors of Rick Pitino and always tend to look at the alleged scumbag side of some of the things that have happened in his career. I don't know. When you really look at it overall, was the thing with the prostitutes all that off the rails? They used to be cheerleaders reading all of the football players.
Yeah, I think Patino's also one of those guys. He's a good-looking guy. He's sharp. People don't like him. He's made a ton of money. When you're successful, you're going to get haters. God bless the guy. He's 7 years old. He just got a 6-year deal.
Yeah.
Most people at 70 can't get a 6-year deal on life.
Most people at 70 can't do a lot of things anymore. Greek, and I'm ashamed to say, that these are very difficult discoveries sometimes, right? Because I've been complaining about my wrist. I have no idea what I did, and immediately, people started saying, "Well, what are you going to do about masturbation?" Right? Because I don't know how you are. And I was always thinking, it would be nice to meet a new girl, right? But I don't know how you are. Can you use your offhand for most things, Greek? Are you ambidextrous?
Well, when I played hoop, my lefty shot was adequate. But again,
I could shoot a left-handed layup. I actually preferred it to go on the right side because I shot off the wrong foot when I took layups. So I was on the correct foot when I was shooting from the left side. I wouldn't say that my left-handed hook shot was anything like Willis Reed's. That's for sure.
Nah, Will Street's sad about that. But I look at it like shoveling snow. Why am I going to do something why am I going to do something I can pay somebody to do?
But when you can't lift a cup of coffee, that's not a good thing, is it?
I had a bad shoulder for years, really bad. And thank God it doesn't hurt me. But that was roulette shoulder because I was betting the third 12. And I have to keep stretching.
You must be flush as Daisy also because Lubie's posted up here on our little private thing here that we have going with cues and things like that. That you were 4-0 last week, in addition to your love of the Fighting Owls there.
Yeah, last week I had a great week, so hats off to that. I always want to bring you guys winners because whatever you put out there is your reputation. And thank you, Lubie, for actually recognize that because I really don't like to toot my own horn.
No, we've noticed that. But look, people, these are degenerates we're talking to. Hardcore, sick, self-sabotaging degenerates. They want to know. And I got this, from the Polyman, our dear friend, the Polyman, who is an astute handicapper and a judge of things of this nature on his own. And he said, the Greek has been getting some good stuff. Is that his Vegas guys? So, is that what? Where is this coming from, Greek? Are you just like watching basketball like Dick Vitale? Well, what's happening?
No, it's me. I study, I read, I hear things, I put it all together.
What do you mean you hear things? What does that mean?
What does that mean? I hear things.
Like I hear some things about what you've been saying about the guys.
Yeah. I hear certain stuff with certain moves. I'm a guy, I watch the money. I always have.
Okay.
Like FAU goes down to 4. Then I see a lot of people are betting FAU. I like FAU anyway, But I said, you know what? The wise guy side is definitely FAU. And they ended up winning. And sometimes it works. Well, last night, Michigan State all week was a 2-point dog, and they turned into a 2-point favor. Kansas State wins it over. So, it could go either. It could go either way. But I'm excited for FAU. I really like this. I think this is great for the program. Obviously, and seriously, and it's great. And I think it's good for the school. I hope they can win against Kansas State. They got a shot. They got to stop Norwell.
Imagine it. Final Four.
Yeah, Final Four.
Will they shut down Meisner Park? I mean, for the big watch party? What do you think?
Gucci will probably go 50% off.
Gucci bags for everybody. I mean, that would be a remarkable story, though. I remember years ago, and this had to be, I guess, in the 90s somewhere, like maybe mid 90s, when Howard Schnellenberger was announced as the guy that was going to spearhead the movement to have football there. And he came on, and we loved Howard. Everybody knew him, pretty well. That was on the show I was on with Steve Goldstein and Joe Rose. And, it was always great having Howard on just because, it was the only time that guys that were listening to AM radio were getting, the bass speakers rattling more than the guy that was next to you with the rap music, right? And so you'd roll down your window and everything was shaking as he said, "Well, I want to tell you this, Defo, within 7 years, we're going to bring a national championship to Boca Raton."
Yeah.
And you're like, Howard, that is the biggest crock of shit I ever heard in my life. But here we are. Here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm hoping they win. I'll be watching the game Sunday. Tonight, you got the Canes getting 5.
What do you think?
I don't know. Houston's tough. Houston is tough. It's going to be a tough task for them tonight. I got to be honest with you. Creighton against Princeton. Those kids are bringing their smarts to the game.
Yeah.
I think their bubble dropped tonight. I would go with Creighton, especially first half Creighton. But I think I would go with Creighton pulling away at the end of the game.
You're even dissecting this down to individual halves. I love that about you, Greek.
You know that.
Yeah, you only like to concern yourself with the first half because then you can spend the second half, with one of those dances.
Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say it's true. I got a very nicey. I'm having a drink with a girl tonight at 5:30.
Whereabouts? We would like to use some kind of spy cam on this.
Leave him alone. I don't want to spy him.
No, I mean, just you should put out a video. I mean, why don't you help out the poor suckers in society that can't get a date, and give them some essential keys to being this successful with women.
You know where I met this girl? First of all, I met her at a car wash.
Oh yeah, you were washing cars. I can't picture that.
I think he was washing cars.
No, she was getting her car wash. I was getting my car wash. And I walked outside. She was sitting on this bench. My buddy has a place, the Green Turtle, beautiful place, hand wash.
Okay.
And I walked up there. She was sitting there, and I looked at her. I go, "That was very nice of you to pay for my car wash." I said, "You just paid for my car wash." I said, "The guy told me inside." I said, "Next time I'll get you." She goes, "I didn't pay for your car wash." I said,
Well, that's better than go fuck yourself. Yeah. So at least you're off to a good start.
That's a great.
I said, "Pick a number between 1 and 6." She said 4. I said, "Okay, you just met a star."
Now, how hot did this
You're
babe
right.
happen to be, Greek? I mean, sitting there in probably a skimpy outfit with a great tan.
I was talking to her.
This wasn't some girl with a giant beak that a hawk was about to land on. This.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, very nice girl. We've been trying to get together for a couple of weeks. Well, I liked it better. She's going to the Win April 1st for 10 days. I said, "Oh, that's great."
10 days.
I love that place.
What business is she in?
That's awesome.
Might I ask?
10 days.
Probably taking my money.
All right, so just to, can we solidify these picks again real quick for today?
Yeah. I don't think he made any picks yet.
You didn't make any picks yet?
No,
Not really. I'm going to go with Creighton first half and Alabama tonight.
Creighton first half, Alabama tonight. All right, that's excellent. Greek. Yeah. Hey, thanks. I mean, you sound good, kid. You really do.
You sound great, my friend.
You sound good. I mean, it's the Greek of old, man. There was that period there where we had to talk you out of jumping out of a building, and it's great. I mean, you're back.
You're kind of suicide hotline. You really should. You'd be great.
I want to come back as you. I really do, Greek. I've lived a pretty fortunate life, I would have to say. You know, I mean, now that I'm up there, what's that?
Brady went through a bad divorce. I said, bad divorce. Tom Brady went through a bad divorce. It happens. What are you going to
Yeah.
do?
Honestly.
I told you all along, man. I've been through a couple of them, man, and I've considered a third. So,
You're the best.
I'm really good at it.
We love you,
You
dude.
would get off the top topic and get back up.
Exactly. You would.
All right, Greek, man. Always a pleasure, my friend. Best of luck. You're on an incredible roll, man. What a tear, man. And thanks so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure, my friend. And do we do the obligatory let's get together soon, even though it's never going to happen?
I will let him know. I will.
Oh, okay.
Keep in touch with the Greek. We actually should get dinner in the next week or so.
Where do you think he's going to go? Monroe's? He's not inclined to go for the free lunch at Tootsie's.
No, he goes
not
to
that Tootsie's. I mean, that would be high grade for us in terms of strip club appearances that we've made.
New York Prime is his spot. He loves New York Prime.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's highfalutin stuff over there. They used to have like a ladies' night there that I used to frequent.
But it's not excessive. Like, that's my
Yeah.
thing. Carbones. Like, I get Anthony's Runway. Nice. Really,
That Carbones was ridiculous. The prices there. They're
it's
ridiculous.
the same stuff for another $30. Like, come on. Like,
You could have eaten, honestly, at least two and maybe three really, really good Italian restaurants. Like
it's Italian. It's
for
not
the same money.
cheap.
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
spends? I get chicken parm went from 16 to 25 or 32. Fine, but why would you spend 50 on chicken parm? Like,
It was
it's
$89, I think, whatever
That was veal
yeah.
parm. Veal parm, again, veal parm usually is in the 30s. It's a little
Yeah.
more. It's veal. Fine. It's not 80.
No,
That's-
$90. I mean, I don't know what they could do to it.
It's just veal. It's veal parm. And Mayo said it wasn't that great. It
Well,
was-
and the big thing was that they like shaved it with a razor, like that scene in
Yes.
Goodfellas with Sorvino in the jail.
yeah, but that's with that. He's doing that with garlic. I don't need veal shit. Like, I don't even.
I'm not sure it would be that much better. I don't know. What the hell, man? By the way, that was a good time yesterday. Delaware Chicken Farm and
Yeah,
Seafood
that place is great.
Market. Wow, how nice are the people there? It really is phenomenal.
I-
Doug and his whole crew.
They're just
I met-
well, the service is it's funny because you expect good service, but we're so
Yeah.
used to jaded service. Like I walk in just because I want to get out because I get there really early and we do it outside.
Yeah.
So it's on a break for like a few minutes, and 4 different people are like, "Can I help you? Do you need help? Can I help you?" I'm like, "No, I'm okay."
Well, and the other thing we noticed, because there were at least a dozen cars that pulled in and out of that space in the hour that we were on the air
Yeah.
with Mike Mayo's lunchbox, and you saw that I started to have one of those fears that somebody was going to hit the gas pedal by mistake and cruise through the building there. Which it would have been appropriate because Mayo had just made this big score through some insurance settlement that he got, and have you ever seen him happier? Ever?
No, never.
Never.
No, not at all.
This is without a drop of alcohol in his system there, and I don't know if he's also forsaken other inebriants, but you would have thought that he had just come over from Timothy Leary's house to the Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. Happy as you could be, and that's why I thought that's really the reason, Lubie, that it amplified my fear that was going to be the climactic moment of his life. That you were finally going to make that big score, kind of like a Twilight Zone episode, where the guy who was a degenerate horse player was getting like tomorrow's newspaper, and he's winning every day at the track, and then one day he doesn't show up because all his friends love him now. He's giving out winner after winner, right? How could you lose? You already know who won. Results are in the paper.
Yes.
And then they don't see him around, and they're like, "Wait a minute, man, where's Joe? Joe, I mean, we need Joe today." They're in a panic, man. All of a sudden, they're going to be on their own trying to handicap. This guy's been giving them nothing but winners, like 100%. And then they like pan to the track there, the apron of the track, and the newspaper flips over, and there's Joe's name in the obituaries in tomorrow's
geez.
paper.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, no.
Rod Serling, man. I mean, he Syracuse guy, Lubie. The best was when he was doing the commercial for Genesee Cream Ale, Rod Serling. And kind of like one of those haunting Dickens, opening scenes where, it's like fog and a lake and, all kinds of creatures might be lurking around. And he's selling Genesee Cream Ale, which, as I recall, I don't know. Did you ever have a Genesee Cream Ale,
I've heard of
Lubie?
this at all. I'd never heard of any of the beers you guys rave or talk
A
about.
lot of beers in that upstate New York area. This was before it was popular to have a lot of individually, kind of brewed beer companies. Budweiser, of course, was a big one. Schlitz, Schaefer was big. Rheingold was
Rheingold,
big,
yeah.
but those were more commercial. Upstate New York, you had Utica Club, It was the first time I was introduced to Rolling Rock, which
Ooh,
I'm not sure what I think about Rolling Rock. What do you think about Rolling Rock?
Rough. Rolling Rock's another shit one. It's
Shit,
not.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Utica
not-
Club was like, cow piss. It really was. Although I do remember getting absolutely slam dunked touring the Utica Club Brewery, which had a concept that was similar to Busch Gardens. Remember when Busch Gardens gave you unlimited amounts of booze until like
Yes,
people
yes.
were getting in car
Yeah.
crashes, deadly crashes in the parking lot,
It didn't go well, yeah.
like crashing into the tram, not even into another car.
Yeah, it didn't go well.
I mean, but I remember getting absolutely doused at the Utica Club Brewery. I don't know how the hell we got back to Syracuse from there.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know, but that beer, as I recall, was close to god awful. Then you had what? You had some Canadian beers like Infiltrate there, where have you had a Molson's?
Yeah, Molson's okay. It's not
What do you
good.
think? I don't know, but as I recall, Genesee Cream Ale was a highly regarded beer. I may be talking through my hat here, but and we didn't have that much of a refined taste for beers outside of the realm of what were largely awful beers like Rheingold, which I thought was like drinking sand out of the Mojave Desert. They weren't wrong, man. My beer is Rheingold, a dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, it's not sweet. What was the rest of that? Anybody who can finish that song, we have a landlubber's gift certificate.
I love that it's not bitter, it's not sweet.
Oh, Valentine was another big one with Mel Allen there.
We talked about, yeah.
By the way, I had this debate. I guess it would have to be Harry Carey, but who started using the phrase "holy cow" first? Was
It
it
was
Mel
Harry.
Allen? I believe I recall Mel Allen being famous for a "holy cow." Is that possible?
I mean, he was around longer than Harry Carey, right? So
Carey,
yes,
Carey
earlier.
was like 1,000 years old, I guess, when he checked out.
Yeah, but
But
no,
did Mel Allen not also, you make wide use of the phrase "holy cow" in his calls, or am I just
I
dreaming?
don't know. That's
Okay.
on. That's a former time. I know Harry.
We need
Carey.
one of our New Yorkers to weigh in on that, some broadcasting expert. But Mel was he was the voice of my youth. Mel Allen, man, he was absolutely fantastic. And then it was only later on. I mean, imagine how great is Vin Scully that Vin could kind of drive a little Mel out of my head. And and then the voice that you hear that was your signature baseball voice was always pull up a chair and stay a while.
Yep.
See, you have that kind of voice, Libby, a distinct voice.
It's distinct. It's not like that.
You
Very obvious, it's like Rizzuto.
don't think you'd be mistaken anytime soon for Vin Scully?
Oh no, it's like a comical voice. It's like Rizzuto. That's what my voice is like.
Phil was great. I mean, you know
It was
what?
well known and distinct, but it was very different. It wasn't like Vin or
Look at Chris Russo, man. Although he's screaming all the time,
Well,
he
he's
signed
a-
up for another year of screaming
he's a jackass.
with Stephen A. Smith. Should we be doing more of that type of sports talk, though, Lubie? I mean, maybe that's where we're missing a boat on this thing.
Not a fan of it. It's what Mayo tries to do, and it just irks you. You hate it.
Oh yeah, I mean, but argument it's the same really because there is no definitive answer to any of this stuff. I mean, who's the better quarterback, Marino or Montana?
It's all stupid.
Who is more likely to go deeper in the tournament, FAU or the University of Miami? Which now,
Right now, it's FAU.
can Jim Larinaga answer the Fighting Owls and go? I mean, imagine this too, Louie, and I think you would be able to pull this off.
We'll do it again.
But yeah, do it again next week with both of these guys would be awesome. I think we're going to do it again anyway. If
My question is, like, that's the only thing that sucks about the tournament. There's 2 games, so even if they win the first game, it's like fuck. You
Yeah.
have them after a loss, but at this point, it's all gravy, and I hope they don't feel that way. I want to see them get to the Final Four, both of them, but like
we know Jim Larinaga will do it. I mean, regardless of
they're
the
up
result.
to it. And
Yeah.
just like from a standpoint, do you want the loser? But if you get to the Elite Eight,
Oh yeah, you should recap
win.
your season. I mean,
to win.
I never believed this, and it's unfortunate that this is the way sports fans say. And here we go, telling you how to be fans,
Yeah.
right? The one thing I despise, all right, is that conversation. But it's true. I mean, you shouldn't have a complete disregard for the teams or the people that finish second, third, fourth. There are a lot of stories behind all of this stuff. That's why it's good that that tennis event is kind of an eye opener because I'm looking at these schmanky girls I never heard of. They're both playing their eyeballs out, playing some great tennis, and you're thinking, how did these people ever lose? I mean, when they're that good at this thing, and then while you're watching that, you're watching like the top players, and they're working out like animals.
Yep.
Even though they're not playing that day, they're playing just as hard as if they were. Because it can be tougher, going out and just relentlessly hitting balls than it is actually playing a match, Libby. And you're thinking, look at the work that goes into this. It's pretty incredible. So if somebody finishes second, right, they get all the way to the final and they lose, and the general public is like, what a loser, man. And then you get this embarrassment of the trophy that looks like shit compared to the winner's trophy, right? When you see the Wimbledon guy is kissing the cup, and the fucking queen is sitting on top of it, and you've got a lifetime of seeing McCartney shows, whatever goes along with it, the car, $5 million, and the other person is standing there with like a little teacup that they got. Nobody's looking at them. They get to, tremble their way through a speech before the winner comes up there and says, well, I'd like to thank my team and everybody else. And the other person, is diminished or looks like mouse shit compared to the winner.
Like, all right, thanks, Ryan Osco. No.
Yeah. Federer loses in the finals in a 5-set bloodbath to Nadal. It's like, oh, man, Roger choked. But I never felt that way. I mean, you know what? It's an accomplishment to be able to compete at that level, is it not? Am I being too soft, Louie? What happened to me? What happened to me? Should I be cursing out everybody? Go ahead.
Everyone gets a trophy thing. I've never been the biggest fan of.
No, that's kind of lame. No doubt.
The first loser thing I thought was stupid. I'm like, only one team can win, and if there's like 30 teams, it's pretty cool to be second. Like I'm shooting for first, but like you're not a fucking loser to get second. I always thought that was weird. I'm like, only one team can win. Like the Knicks getting to the finals and losing to the Bulls in 7 games. It was pretty cool. Losing to the Rockets with Hakeem Olajuwon. It wasn't a failure. It's freaking Hakeem Olajuwon.
Well, and the other thing I guess that you get out of playing sports, and this is why again I'm happy that women are involved in sports now, because I feel like they kind of missed out on this. Where that feeling of working together with people, and you feel like you did your very best. And maybe you came up short, but you got a lot out of making the effort.
Yes,
and you know that you can sleep at night saying, "Hey, I couldn't have tried any harder."
Yeah, as long as you bust your ass, that's all I've ever targeted.
I was never one to cry after losses because I was accustomed to it. Except at the track, right? Everybody cries after a loss at the track. The 12. I could have had the 12. You mentioned the 12 to me. What did I say before I went to the bathroom?
That's all you hear the whole time.
Right?
Wherever you go.
Oh, no. I knew this was happening, right? I only bet $3 on it.
The same conversation. I'm always like, why do you guys...
You degenerate pigs out there. Like
more
me.
than exalt the wins. Like, you never know when someone wins, except for like they'll cheer that one moment and then it's quiet. But you'll hear it the next hour when they fucking lose.
Exactly. Everybody's Whitey Herzog, man, all of a sudden. It's like, hey, how long are you going to bitch about the umps, Whitey?
Like,
And how could you still wear a crew cut? You're a grown man, for Christ's sake. He was actually an interesting character, man. Can you believe this? That this was fun, back in the day. And we always talk about how it was a kinder, gentler world, especially on the inside, the inner circles of sports. But especially after California Angels games at Anaheim Stadium, the press, believe it or not, the dreaded and loathed press, the ink-stained wretches, freebie artists that they are, were invited to come into like this very nice bar restaurant and just hang out and have whatever you wanted. And this was inside like the clubhouse area of the stadium.
They'd let you into the club area. That's something.
Yeah, and the managers were up there. I remember shooting the shit with Whitey Herzog one night.
Drinking. You're openly drinking with...
Having a cocktail. Yeah, he's sucking them down, like he was Earl Weaver, man. It was absolutely fantastic. And you're thinking, that never would happen today, right? I mean, imagine, you want to sit down with, Mike McDaniel after a ball. Well, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Probably if you went to some place where they have weed that's being smoked in large amounts. Because to come up with some of that shit, he's got to be high, no?
100%.
What do you think?
100%.
All right. Mark Lawrence going to join us in the Gambling Gourmet?
Yes.
Mike Mayo, who was, I have honestly never seen this man happier. I would have thought that he found something that like Dennis Rodman was taking.
Well, I mean, when you make a score like that,
is money the The
It-
drug that fuels his mojo? I'm not sure.
when
Is
you
it?
have money, I don't know if he has money problems, but when you have a lot of things weighing, I knew his mother
Lump sum cash, though, is
back
always
in
good.
private school.
Yeah.
When you have all that stuff hanging on you, and someone's like, "Here, we'll take some of that pressure off of you." Believe me, that's
I mean, it happened to me a couple of weeks ago when I finally
You're like,
completed that stupid equity loan I was looking for. And I
it's
was like,
really
wait a minute, I have all the qualifications except for the fact that, I might have shaved a few dollars off my income tax.
when you
What
also
do you mean you have no income, Mr. DeForest?
you also do it the next year. You're always a year behind.
Oh, yeah, no, I just sent in 2021 like a month ago.
I just did my 2022, and you're like, "Yeah, I did mine too, 2020." I'm like,
At
"It's 2023."
least, you know what? I mean, this is a far cry from where I was at maybe 2 years ago, but at least it's current now, kind of like it's up to the year that it's supposed to be, but that year ain't coming soon. Because I'm hoping, that I check out before I have to file income tax the final year. I
Jesus.
mean, I guess by the time you get to be like I don't know. See, how do you predict how much longer you have on the planet, right? You
I-
can't.
I wouldn't just go.
Walk of life every day, my friends.
There
The
you go.
walk of life. I think it's keeping me going. All right. If I can shake this thing here, you think it is the gout, Louie? What do you think?
I don't
Mayo,
know.
how does Mayo get the gout at the mere suggestion of a guy having a damaged wrist?
He had a whole litany of things that it could be and what you need to do. I'm like,
I love when he starts talking about medical shit because thinking, Mike, you're having enough problems that maybe you have to, an epiphany would be better than a doctor's appointment. No,
where it might have been. I think it was. Oh, it might be up here. This
what's
my
that?
gout. Here it is. I love it. Gout can hit any joint, knee, wrist, ankle, big toe. It hit my left wrist yesterday after Defo talked about his wrist. His gout was contagious. I was like, I don't think
I wasn't thinking that this was gout. And I'm still not convinced that it is.
I think you hadn't used your wrist for tennis in months, and then you went full bore. And I
No,
think
I mean that can be weird. Like if you're all of a sudden, we're like gripping something that and tennis has its sensitivities as witnessed, and evidenced by the fact that tennis elbow was a frequent malady that would afflict tennis players, and they used to have that stupid little gizmo. I never see anybody wearing that anymore. Did they just come up with a better way to combat tennis elbow? You used to have that thing that little kind of pack that you put on your elbow,
I don't know.
and if you were playing with that, you were thinking that's pretty lame. But I used to get it, but I believe it comes from either the way that you're hitting the ball, you might be hitting it incorrectly, or the condition of the strings of the racket also contribute to that. But this goes beyond that, Louis. It couldn't be. I am believing it's a gout. It's just weird that you're willing to take any measure to try and get rid of the pain and the trouble it's giving you immediately, including. I literally gargled down like all of these pills that Sean Mack brought over, and then I thought, wait a minute. Sean Mack is crazy.
Yes. I love that you thought about that after he had a whole bag of drugs. Someone else
I didn't care. I was. It was troubling me so much that I literally, I could not shake it from my consciousness, like how much this was bothering me. I'm like, holy Jim Abbott, how the hell did that guy do that? How did he do it? He had the glove under his.
Well,
Like,
half the glove. No, he would keep it. Remember, he had a nub. He would keep the glove on the
he had
nub.
the nub, yeah. So he
Like,
had. He was a lefty, so that was on his right arm.
Swing. He would pick up the glove, put it on his hand, so he'd be ready.
How the hell did this guy do that? He was a magician.
Yeah, it was one motion. He threw a no hitter. He was legit. He pitched like over.
Jim
10
Abbott, yeah.
He was like one of the better pitchers in baseball his entire career. Like that's what was fucking
Speaking
weird.
of the Angels, right? And he was a Yankee too, wasn't he, Jim Abbott?
Finished up as a Yankee, I think. Or he
Wow.
had his career. Yep.
I mean,
like
if Bud Abbott was doing that, you would have thought that's quite an accomplishment. But for Jim Abbott to be able to do that juggling, and he did it so smoothly, right?
Yep, it was one motion.
Brandon Lang was saying and this was a common thought in sports fundamentals. If you had like the Tom Umansky tape, and they said, well, take your weak hand and force yourself for like months to do everything with your left hand if you're a righty.
Yeah,
Throw lefty, right lefty, dribble a basketball lefty, and eventually, it'll come up in terms of equivalency with what is your, side of strength. I never found that to be true.
I just didn't do it. It probably would have been true if I had done it.
I have no desire to relearn everything. Do you?
No, that's
I was fine the way it was.
fine.
Let's hope it is the gout, man.
Maybe they
Honestly, I said this on Defo at 5, and we'll be seeing Albert Castillo tonight at the Funky Biscuit with the great Mike Zito. Can't wait. I mean, going to be like a very exciting show.
It's been forever. We're supposed to have him do a whole thing with us.
Yeah, he was going to. He got busy, man. He really.
And shit. He's like freaking worldwide.
Yeah. This thing's huge now. But one of the verses of one of his songs that he'll no doubt play tonight is "Call the doctor, call the nurse. I don't know what it is, but I know it hurts."
That sounds like Mayo's anthem.
It sounds like something that would be like in like Hava Nagila, no? Hey, I don't know what it is, but it hurts.
That's true.
Yeah, some rabbi, I think, wrote that verse. All right, Mark Lawrence and then the Gambling Gourmet. We're going to get to both of those guys in just a second. Now that. It's 8:27.
Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
All right. Tell me you had it, Mark Lawrence. Tell me you had the ultimate parlay, moneyline parlay, Jets, Bengals. Both teams had to be, 10-1 money line. It hasn't happened since 1973. I think you're probably well aware of that two double-digit underdogs have won straight up in the National Football League. So we're talking about 47 years of history that was erased with this double whammy that took place against the chalk. And many people got buried on that. Tell me you had it. Tell me you had a little taste on the money line Jets-Bengals parlay.
I tell you this, that if I had played the Jets and the Bengals on the money line parlay, I would be the lead speaker at a Gamblers Anonymous meeting.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday here. We apologize for no professor in the big board, but certainly a well-deserved morning off for the professor after schwitzing his way through the Gonzaga game.
Both games
last night, and the Kansas State-Michigan State game.
And they had the freaking game in hand, then go to overtime in the last minute. Oof. That was annoying.
Yeah, and this guy, we were saying earlier, and always look forward to talking to Mark Lawrence here of PlaybookSports.com on these Degenerate Fridays, especially at times like this, which, he had to feel like he was at the Biscayne Kennel Club back in the day on Miami Beach, man. When it was packed houses and, a lot of babes were on hand. We welcome to the show Mark Lawrence. But, Mark, in terms of delivering, I don't know what the stats are on this, but seems to me like an overwhelming number of underdogs are finding ways to make their backers feel very happy about some of the results of this tournament. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing just terrific, Defo. And yes, the dogs are barking, which is good for dog lovers.
Dogs are in a box, my friend. Here comes Rusty. I mean, you have to be just running to the window like you were the rabbit itself.
Yeah, we're really having a great time. I can tell you that. It's, when they win and they win straight up, even that's even nicer because
Oh my!
if you sprinkle a little on the money line as well, it becomes a little bit of a double hit in a sense. So
I can hear it in your voice, Mark, because you're normally very humble about these brilliant numbers that you bring. But I mean, I can hear it in your voice. You are reveling in this wave of underdog activity, which. And what's great about it, I mean, you don't have to wait till next week. It's happening again tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, it's perpetual throughout the tournament, and you hope you're not going to see it because at some point the favorites begin to assert themselves, and it usually happens in a Sweet 16 round, but almost always in an Elite 8 round. So, that's kind of where the wheat separates itself from the chaff. So we'll see if it continues in the Elite 8 round. But no complaints from yours truly here so far from what we've seen in the NCAA basketball tournament. What's been really good here, Defo, is the unders, the total.
Yes.
My goodness, it's been like stealing money. It's really, it's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
The odds makers are starting to adjust to that. They know it. They got absolutely clobbered the first 2 rounds for the under totals in those basketball games. So they'll make their adjustments and, things will eventually come back to the norm. But, right now for the moment, we're reveling with these dogs barking the way they are.
Yeah, no, it's been great and very exciting. I mean, a couple of your highlight moments of the tournament so far, teams that you've been on. I mean, I know you said you were on Princeton. I don't know if you had them again the following game. Certainly, the Fairleigh Dickinson win over Purdue was, the most monumental. But you also had Arizona getting knocked out of there by Princeton, and so many upsets, and then a lot of thrill in Manila type finishes to these games.
Which makes it really, really nice. It's what the March Madness is all about. Let me tell you a quick story here about these underdogs. And a real good friend of mine, his name is Steve Fezzik, and he's famous in Las Vegas for having been the only person to ever won the Stardust Invitational 2 years in a row, back to back. That's a handicapping contest. And we got to become really good friends because I ended up beating his streak, and I ended up beating him the next year after he did that. But nonetheless, he's very, very super, super sharp. And he went out on a limb, and he played, if you can believe this, Purdue on a money line over Fairleigh Dickinson.
No.
On a money line.
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't that like 10,000 to win 100?
Yeah, it wasn't even like the odds were like.
Yeah.
I think it was more like 6,500 or something in that range.
Who would do that though, Mark Lawrence? Certainly not you. I mean, that seems like the phantom plunger approach at the racetrack when you see some guy put 50,000 on a 1-9 shot, and then the horse runs fourth, and everybody else is ecstatic.
And least of all him. I mean, he's a man of numbers, and he knows what he's. That is how much of a lock.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he saw Purdue being in that basketball game. I think the tallest player on the Fairleigh Dickinson team was 6'3".
Yes.
Yes.
It was just incredibly unbelievable. You know something? It hit Twitter. It ripped through Twitter because he admitted it. He was the first person to call it out that he had done just that. He made a tragic mistake of a lifetime. And all it takes is one time to have to be able to jump off that bridge and not come back alive. And that's exactly what he's done.
I'm just, I mean, naturally, you don't have to be a mathematical giant to figure out that at 6,500 to win 100.
Yeah,
I mean, so to win a dime, you had to risk $65,000. At that point,
the risk
you're almost better off putting it into a money market fund.
Yeah, to say the least. And then again, what does a dime matter to him anyway?
At that point,
he plays games for probably 5,000 and 10,000 a game anyway. So what does a dime matter? It's just that the person doesn't want to pass up a winner, I guess. Feel like that.
Did you suggest anybody out there in Vegas? I would imagine there are any number of therapists that deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah, well, like I said before, my favorite, Jennifer Melfi, I think she got offices everywhere in every major country. Right?
I don't understand these instincts I have. Yeah, for murder. That's crazy. I looked at that. I saw it in a post as minus 10,000, and you were getting something like I don't know, it was like 2,500 on Fairleigh Dickinson on the money line. We did know people that had Fairleigh Dickinson on the money line. Jersey Kyle being one of them. Your good buddy Jersey Kyle Martinez, who fired off based on the simple, I guess very sound logic that it was a school from New Jersey. Doesn't matter what kind of lopsided equation that the game itself should have been, but well, were you amazed? I mean, did you think the fix was in when Zach Eady at 7'9" was calling for the ball and had inside position virtually all night long, and any kind of lob pass would have been caught by Eady and dunked?
Dunked, yep.
Were you surprised that they went 10 minutes without throwing on the ball? Did that should that not have triggered investigations?
It raised the red flags for sure. I mean, my goodness, my wife, who doesn't really follow the sport, could pick up on that to see just that, the minions all surrounding him and him not touching the basketball. But it is what it is, and we move forward on that. And you mentioned to me about which teams have been good for us in the tournament so far, and I would say our favorite team has been Kansas State, a team we about to win in overtime last night, and they're going to be in a similar role here again that they've won the last two roles in, and that's been as a higher seeded underdog that they've won the basketball games. They were the higher seeds. They're number 3 seed, and they were taking points each game from worse seeds, and they'll be likely doing that again here on Saturday. I'm going to say that again. So we're going to keep a close eye on them and see whether or not they dress up as the underdog in the basketball game, and if they do, we'll certainly continue our run with Kansas State.
You think there might be a dog to FAU?
Well, I was thinking Houston. He's assuming Houston.
Oh, Houston. They would take on Miami or Houston?
Well, right now, Vegas has got them slotted as a 1.5 point favorite. So, and it is. I believe it is FAU. They're playing.
FAU is who they're playing next week. Yeah. Get with the program.
So, they would have been the dog had it been Tennessee.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's amazing too, because here's Tennessee, and they get essentially handled in the second half there by this FAU team. Have you been back in the Owls, Mark Lawrence?
I've been on the Owls. I was amazed that they were an underdog in their conference championship game against UAB, number 1 seed, clearly the best record in the conference and arguably the best team in the conference. And they dressed up as an underdog in that role to get to this tournament. And you have to give them their due. I mean, they're playing. No team in the country has a better record than FAU does right now, at 34-3. And they'll again, I guess maybe they'll be an underdog themselves again in a basketball game here against Kansas State. So, sometimes the thinking, it shows you how weird the thinking is here, Defo. Like, I'm on a hunt to ferret out Kansas State is an underdog in his next game. Now he's going to come a favorite in his next game. So what are we looking to do? Probably fade Kansas State.
Wow.
If for no other reason, because you go from straight up underdog winner to straight up underdog winner, now you're a favorite. And that's a no-no in itself as well. A role changer, if you will, a bad role changer in an Elite 8-round game. So we'll see where that number settles in, but there's probably anything more than 2 will be looking to back the Owls in that game.
Oh, nice.
Wow. I mean, I have great admiration for that approach, Mark Lawrence, because I couldn't do it. And that is back off because of following principle. That is brilliant, and that's what sets you apart from a lot of us other self-sabotaging losers that have been out there sending it in on the wrong side half of our lives. All right, what are the right sides in your opinion this week or tonight? I don't know.
Today.
Yeah, which way you want to go?
I think we got 2 live dogs out here tonight. Number one, I think our Canes are live against Houston in this basketball game. Good. I love their approach. Their 3-guard attack. I think it matches up well against the Cougars in the game, and they've been a terrific dog as it is. In fact, the last 10 times they've been an underdog after having been an underdog, which is the role they'll be in here. They've won the money 9 of those 10 games.
Wow.
I think they can keep this game close. And the other guy that I like is Princeton against Creighton here tonight. The Mighty Tigers, they've been underdog 3 games in a row. They won their Ivy League title as an underdog. They won the first 2 games of this tourney that way. and they're taking points from what a lot of people perceive to be the wise guy team in Vegas, Creighton, a team that everybody wants to back. And sometimes when they get to be a little bit too popular against a team that nobody wants, you'll do that. And here's an interesting aspect in the basketball game too, Deef. I'll share this with you. In the Sweet 16 round, the biggest favorite in the Sweet 16 rounds, okay, if you go back and you look at the last 21 times you found that biggest favorite in the Sweet 16 round, they've only beat the spread 7 times.
Oh, wow.
Meaning they're highly popular in doing that. And in those 7 games, if they took on an opponent who comes off an upset win like Princeton is doing, they've lost all 7 times. So you've got a little bit of handicapping intrigue here behind Princeton as well, a gutty basketball team, and I think they're worth a play tonight as well.
It's a mathematical, dream that you base all of this stuff on. Fantastic stuff, Mark Lawrence, as always. PlaybookSports.com. I mean, you guys have been hot. Obviously, your feeling and instincts based on all of this great stuff that's in your database. You were sharing with people. So how can people get more involved with all of the things you're doing with PlaybookSports.com?
Well, I just shared with you and Mike. I just sent you a copy of the Sweet 16 tournament guide, which has got games for today.
Great.
It's got games all the way through the weekend, the Elite 8 round, and all the way out. In fact, some nice trends all the way through the championship game. So you can check that out online. The Playbook Sweet 16 tournament guide at PlaybookSports.com.
Brilliant, Mark. And now, are you alive in any bracketology of any sort?
No, I think the blankets got blown to smithereens.
Yeah.
It was tough, Defo.
I thought you were in the Elite 8.
I look like Arturo Gatti, after the first fight with Mickey Ward. Just my face was bleeding from every pore. It was ridiculous. Hey, we love you, man. That was great stuff. Really terrific. We appreciate you coming on and joining us here every Degenerate Friday. We hope we can do it again next week as we get to the Final Four.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we'll get to the Final Four and we'll size these teams up and see exactly what it looks like next week.
All right.
You truly are a great American. Mark Lawrence, ladies and gentlemen, PlaybookSports.com. Those numerical breakdowns, and I'm not a trend guy. I always say that, because I don't get that deeply into it. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I don't believe in trends, but I always feel like, the same thing when you see 16 straight blacks on the roulette wheel showing on the board. And then, some guy will come over and plunge like 50 grand on red. Some rapper, we'll just stack it on there in cash. Can I play cash here? Yeah, sure. No problem, Joe. That's how we make our living. Exactly. Suckers like you that are thinking it has to be red, but it's arbitrary again. And so I don't know. I mean, when you see results, or predictions that are based on, what happened even like 12 years ago with a couple of franchises, how relevant is it? I don't know, Lubie. What do you think?
That's that, and I love Lawrence, but that's always one team to the next is very different. I get it. Coaches in college sports, you see the similar coaches have similar success, but it doesn't work that way either.
But he has it broken down from an even deeper mathematical, approach.
Yep.
Because he's talking about how teams do against the spread, and it seems consistent. Like there's enough sort of tangible evidence there that if you can just buy into that the math works.
Yep.
You could probably be pretty successful. But then, stands by his principle that, if I'm not getting the situation that I want, see, I wish I could do this, but I can't. If I'm not getting the situation that I want, I am not going to go ahead and play the game, no matter how strongly I felt about, the circumstances before. Right? Like I'm not playing the, the 7 horse at 3 to 5. Of course you are, Defo, and you're going to play him with the 5, like you do in every race. Right? See, I mean, I feel like a clown the way that I bet compared to Mark Lawrence.
Well, his is systemic, and
I go more on instinct though, and I've been relying more and more on the abstract in all of this stuff, including horse racing, where I like to go by the look of the animal. So no, but I think that's a giant factor. I just do. You see some animal looks like a schlep, you're thinking, how is this horse going to win the race? If you saw a fat jockey, if Kiradesh Afi Barnrat was on the 2-ball, you're not betting that horse, right? Because it just doesn't look the part. All right, Mike Mayo is going to join us here to Gambling Gourmet. The man, I've never, honestly, I wish I knew what inspired him besides, capital, right? Because if you could keep him this happy all the time, what a great world it would be, right? Can you imagine? He'd be calling us, for the lunchbox show after getting off the phone with Dickstein and saying, "Hey guys, how you doing? Why don't we all go out for lunch?" Which we did yesterday. So we'll get into that. Mike Mayo, wow, I've never seen a guy happier, honestly. He didn't even care if we got run over at that point. He was unconcerned. And normally he would be the paranoid one, and I'd be the guy going, "Listen, Mayo, calm down. It ain't going to happen."
100%.
But it was me.
You were freaking out the whole show. I'm like, what's wrong with Defo?
I just figured that because he had made this big score that maybe it was going to be his final moment also, right? Like I was talking about on the Twilight Zone thing. All right, back with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, in a moment. And then also Scott Spinelli is going to join us. We go a little overtime today, so we'll get some insight into the tournament, some more steam on tonight's games. Back with more on a Degenerate Friday in a moment. Now that. And hi to our good friend Lois Erickson, who's going to be at the Blood Brothers show tonight at the Funky Biscuit. Big Albert fan, and it'll be good to see Lois out there. It's 8:47.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
All right, so you have the poem. Let's do it. Roses are red, violets are blue. I got DQ'd from the late double. Sorry, no champagne or caviar for you.
Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, ladies and gentlemen.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
I'm not sure where to begin with this, man. Welcome back to the show at Degenerate Friday, and we welcome a true stone cold degenerate, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, to the program. I was saying earlier, I don't know if I guess you were tuned into the show because you had some comments, but that was the most eloquently written piece. I mean, you got back to your roots there after making this score. It brought out the raw essence of what Mike Mayo is best suited to do, I think. And as good of a sports writer as you were, I mean, this was sheer Shakespearean brilliance. Your review of Carbone that you wrote for Let's Eat South Florida, and it had to feel good. I mean, it would be like getting the band back together. I mean, did you find yourself, deeply, searching and exercising the essence of your inner soul when you were writing this thing?
Well, after I wrote it, it was very gratifying to see people say, "Oh, wow, you're a pretty good writer. Maybe you should do this for a living." Or this reminds me of how much we miss, how much we miss you in the paper. And then I realized what a schmuck I am. I did this for no money. In fact, it cost me. And there's no company card that I could use to expense that $366 meal. That didn't even have any alcohol, and that was
that was a bit pricey, I would have to say. I mean, most people would agree. You almost have to be out of your mind to go and spend that kind of money on Italian food. I mean, if you throw in a bottle of wine, you're talking a nickel for two people.
For sure.
Bottle of wine there, you get the cheapest rock gut shit there, and it's $60, $80 or something like that. And it's like,
easy.
No, if you're gonna get a decent bottle of wine, there's like $250. So it's crazy. But look, I threw
It's
money.
fine. It is what
I
it
threw
is.
money and caution to the wind because it was
Sutter
one of
Home
those-
was 68 a bottle.
Love to have Sutter Home.
Sutter Home.
There
You
was
got
some
this
rock
high-end
gut-
meal and you drink a bottle of like
some
Manischewitz. It's
one of
great.
that rock gut Italian
Yeah.
shit with the
Bare
grandmas
Oh,
stop
God.
on with the
Barefoot.
bare feet.
I wasn't thrilled with Italian wines when I was in Italy. I have to say, nothing I drank
don't like
there
red
actually made
wine.
me
Red
happy.
Because if you're drinking the Italian whites, there are
Yeah,
some
no,
very
horrible,
good
yeah.
Italian
They have
whites.
whites, but the red's their theme.
Whites were horrible. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
There's some good ones, but you got to spend some money, like anything. Like now, anyway. So for those of your audience in the gambling gourmet world, yeah, I had a score, but it wasn't at the track. It wasn't at the poker tables. It was in the hallowed the hallowed halls of justice in the United States
Nice,
of America.
man.
And we didn't even have to go to a jury trial. And I don't know who was it that first said that money won is twice as nice as money earned, but that is absolutely true. I feel fucking great.
Oh yeah. Screwing an insurance company. I mean, who's been screwing you?
Company, yeah.
I mean, and having them come to their knees and capitulate to your lawyer's most outrageous demands.
When they realize how badly they fucked up, and again, nobody admitted any guilt, and nobody's saying anything was done wrong.
But
All
they
I know
stiffed
is
you on
that
like 30 grand worth of repairs.
at the end of the day, when somebody right before we're going to a trial, and they come in with a number that blew everybody out of the water, like everybody on my team, the public adjuster.
Who'd you have?
lawyer.
Like Roy Black as your attorney?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's a lot of
Bogenschutz came in. Your connections with the old courthouse
I
from
know
your
people. I
city
know
editor
people.
days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a very fine law firm down in Coral Gables that do a lot of this kind of insurance work, and they knew what they were doing. My public adjuster knew what she was doing, and again, it was one of those things when these insurance companies complain all about the cost, all these frivolous lawsuits
Sure.
and the cost of litigation. Let me tell you something.
It's your
We
fault.
live in a country where there's no such thing as a frivolous lawsuit. That gets dismissed, and
Yeah.
they brought their we want summary judgment against this, throw it out. The judge said no, there's validity to these claims. We're going to go to a trial. And when the company realizes that they messed up so badly that they do bring in an offer that I couldn't refuse, and that both my adjuster and the lawyer said they've never seen this state-run company make an offer this generous this early in the game, because we were still 2 months out from trial. But
Oh wow.
some of their initial depositions, let's say, didn't go too well for them because they admitted all kinds of
kind of like those Jeffrey Epstein depositions,
Exactly.
or
all
anything with
kinds of-
Trump. Yeah.
it's either willful negligence or incompetence, and either one doesn't look very
Yeah,
good.
it's
in
bad.
front of the
I don't
jury,
recall.
so-
I don't recall stiffing this guy.
So,
That's
anyway,
great.
now
It made you the happiest man on the planet. I have never seen you happier, Mike Mayo, than you were yesterday. And then, I don't know, Lubie, can you read that line there from the thing? Because this, for the people that are uninitiated, and of course, Mike
our
Mayo's
show is a
lunchbox.
different audience than the lunchbox,
Yeah.
which is cool.
I would think so. Yeah, we got a bunch of sick gambling,
Especially on Friday.
as we said, self-sabotaging, degenerates on the show here, and you have all these fine foodies that are following your reviews of Carbone on South Beach, which I would have been afraid to go down there with what's going on. But this is from Mike Mayo. This is the brilliance of Mike Mayo, and it really was. I mean, it was like Damon Runyon writing baseball or something.
like
This
Shakespeare.
was great. Yeah.
Shakespearean.
I enjoy doing those food reviews. I really
Here we
do
go.
get
Lubie's
a
got
lot.
it.
Okay, you
Next
got it.
excerpt
Okay.
from
This
Mike
is about Carbone.
review of the ritzy, ridiculous Carbone.
And before he reads that passage, I know what you're going to read, but just my overall summary was: if money is no object, then this place, you'll have no problem with it. But if money is an object, then you'll find it highly objectionable.
Yeah.
This was a positive part of the review, actually. It's just ludicrous. All righty. My split portion of rigatoni contained a mere 16 pieces of luscious al dente pasta. That's more than $1 per macaroni. I love that. Walmart in the middle of this.
Imagine it at a stadium, a buck a pop.
But there was something to be said for the scarcity. It promoted a purposeful mindfulness that doesn't often accompany pasta eating. I slowed down, luxuriating in the silky, cheesy bath that enveloped each tube. I do love the term tube to describe pasta. It wasn't very spicy, but it was very good. Like I love this.
It sounds like a porn novel. Man. It's awesome, man.
It does. It sounds like a
Yeah.
sexy porn.
Well, that's what
Succulent as her breasts were.
food
That was
as
fantastic,
it
man.
is very, very sensual food. And I think what I conveyed here was the fact that if you just suspend all notions of fiscal sanity, that this is a really like kind of a fantasy land, and you go in and it looks all nice and it's pretty. And my daughter was loving it; she wanted to go here. That's why we went to this place. But
did you notice this
but I
theme, though,
convey
Louie, about your daughter, Mike Mayo? She has very expensive taste.
Yep, I trained her well.
Yeah.
I
What the heck
trained
is
her
that?
well.
I think you
with
better
her.
wean her off of that, because
No, it's going to be somebody else's problem pretty soon. So no, she's I want her to aim
Nice
high,
Jewish
swing
boy.
for the fences. I don't care about the religion.
Is he a doctor?
I just care about hopefully the family comes from money, and she'll be well taken care of.
But you're not going to be a discriminating, person with regard to, your daughter brings home some guy that, you immediately size up as somewhat of a loser. What do you think?
Look, I'm very accepting of anything. I
wouldn't want to have a daughter in this situation.
The first boyfriend, the serious boyfriend she had, no longer with him, but I liked it because his family, his dad was an owner of a series of Wawas, so that meant a lot of cheese pretzels for me.
I thought you were going to say racehorses.
No, I was going to say.
Yeah.
But hey, so getting back to Carbone, and look, I liked it. I liked the whole thing. The veal chop was overpriced, and it wasn't actually it wasn't particularly good. I didn't like it. Actually, when I was in the middle of eating it, I was saying, you know what? It was kind of soggy and mealy on top, too much sauce, too much grated cheese. It was salty. But I don't, when you're in the middle of like that kind of having that great moment, you don't want to like say, oh, wow, and this is what I think a lot of people do when they go out to eat is like, they've already like psyched themselves up. It's hard to get a reservation at some places. They feel exclusive. They're spending a boatload of money. Nobody wants to tell themselves they just spend a lot of money on absolute garbage.
No, you got to feel like you got robbed.
This wasn't garbage. A lot of it was very good. I would recommend a lot of those. The seafood appetizers were great. That octopus was great. The pasta itself, even though it was expensive, was great. The veal, it felt like I was eating a Swanson's frozen dinner of my youth.
That's crazy.
Did you mention that in the review? I mean,
no, I didn't.
If I was Swanson's back on them,
on further reflection, it was one of those things. Like I didn't want to bash the veal too bad in the review, but again, my daughter wanted to do it, and it was one of those magical nights that I'm going to remember forever. And eventually, I'll be able. Actually, I will pay it off in full thanks to this money won. Nice, better than money earned, and so there we go. But on reflection of the veal chops around town, when we call quality and value. First of all, the place we did with Esposito's in Davie, our friend Joe Lay.
Hey, what do you have that thing at? About $42?
It was $38. He had a bone-in veal chop parmesan that used the same quality milk, mozzarella, and the sauce I think was better, and it wasn't the veal. It was crispier. And it comes with a mound of pasta included, and and it was $38, and that's half the price of the 89, less than half the price.
It's a third of the price if you combine the pasta dish.
Charging at
pasta from what you said.
So
you got robbed, but you didn't mind because you just made a big score,
right? Because I robbed somebody else even better. So that's what it's all.
Well,
about.
I mean, they messed with the wrong guy. That was the thing. A lot of people would have just caved in and believed whatever it was that they told them. Like, you don't have a case here, so
that's what they do.
Yeah,
that's what they do. They wear people down, and some people give up, and some people die.
And they obviously have a powerful battery of attorneys also.
Yeah. And the other thing is, so as far as good veal chops, the other one I got to remember is our other guy, Joey Esposito at Cafe Seville.
Now, is the price of the veal chop going up? Have you asked after that horse ran off the board at 12.5?
Unfortunately, Sally Seville, the filly that he bought last year, named for his wife, has had some physical problems. Ran in a first race, a maiden claimer the other day. Had some good forward speed. It was forwardly placed, then just kind of
have you talked to Joey since, or is he ignoring your calls?
It was, I texted him just to kind of wish him luck, and then it was like radio silence afterwards. I gotta talk to him. But his veal chop, very reasonable considering it's a stuffed high quality veal chop, 3 cheese stuffed veal chop at Cafe Seville.
Very elegantly prepared.
I think it's $44. Wow. Maybe now after Sally Seville's performance, maybe up to $48.
Could go to $48.60.
It was like 60.
Still.
How many investors were involved in that horse? I have an inside information thing. I mean, speaking of marriage and inside information, towards the end of a very broken marriage, one of my 2 previous. and I don't want to specify it was the second one, but the ex was having an affair with a guy that worked on a backstretch at one of the racetracks, right? Because she had come out to the track frequently, and I guess who knows, how this came about. But anyway, and then when I found out that the guy was like a groom or something, I said to her, "You couldn't be banging Baffert." So I could get some insight, and there was another source of acrimony between the two of us, and I think that even came up in some of the conversations. That particular line, about the hostility that was coming from my direction about the whole thing.
Hey, talking about acrimony, I think I'm getting a little bit of détente.
Oh
here
yeah,
in
the
your
stone crabs.
relation- Well,
Bribery?
I sent home those stone crabs that I actually purchased yesterday at Delaware.
You
after our
bought
break.
those? Get out of here, man.
Oh,
them.
that's a good move.
I didn't ask for the look. They
Jose
took
was great.
care of us. Jose's
Delaware
great.
Chicken
I mean,
Farm,
I
yeah.
had lamb chops to bring home to mom. We all had that roasted chicken. It's great. There were plenty of leftovers. I wasn't going to start snoring for a free pound of stone crabs, especially
Yeah.
now that I'm flush.
Like a 50 means nothing to you. You put it in Jose's pocket as a tip for picking the right ones.
Yeah, so I figured, as a peace offering to Michelle, since we have been kind of not on good terms since the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I sent home a bag of stone crabs, 1 pound large, with
Oh, my
my
God.
daughter last night when she got
That's
home from
smart,
work.
Oh,
And-
and with the daughter.
We
I
didn't
mean,
force
that's
out your
great.
presence.
And I didn't know how it was going to go because Michelle could be spiteful. Sometimes if she's like,
She might have fired him at your daughter's head.
she would have just threw him right in the garbage if she didn't want him. And I didn't have him cracked because I figured, maybe she had dinner plans last night that she could have him on a Friday night for Lent. I was exactly right. She's saving them for tonight. She put them in the fridge. She did
And
not
she
throw them
thanked you?
away. And she didn't thank me personally, but she, Natalia
Relayed the message.
Natalia relayed to me that I think she appreciated it. And I said, okay, so there's hope for me yet to get
All
into
right, so
Easter dinner. And that's
you're
it.
not
I'm
off
just
the
working
hook. Yeah.
I'm trying to get in for the holiday meals. And I think this is brilliant on my part where you kind of
You're doing well. I'm proud of
No,
you.
that was a good icebreaker, sure.
You haven't forced yourself on her. You've let
Yeah.
it subside.
And is she aware of the score that you made?
I think my daughter probably spilled the beans,
All right,
but she's
well, that could be another reason that the frost is melting.
not entitled to she's not entitled to any of it, but I did send a little goodwill stone crab her way. We'll see where that
Okay,
goes.
yeah,
So
did
that's
that have a
good.
couple of sticks attached to it? Now, what color are her eyes? Do you remember your ex-wife's, eye color?
Hazel.
Hey, okay, good.
Brown,
Mayo.
that's green.
Yeah.
brown.
Yeah.
That's a strong credential,
goes
man, to have,
between-
in an argument with a woman when she asks you, what color are my eyes? I mean, over the phone, and you're like, how many years were we together?
Took me a while to come up with it.
I'm going to go with brown because it's dominant. That's it. All right, you got any, gambling instincts?
Well, first of all, I
you got the
forgot to
Louisiana
mention.
Derby and all of this other stuff coming up.
First of all, it's like I can't believe how hot I am that I didn't share my bracket with anybody before the tournament, but I did have in the Final Four FAU, UM, Princeton, and Gonzaga. So I'm still alive.
Nice.
It's
Yeah.
What Final Four did you put together?
Good luck with that. Yeah, no one's buying that, man.
No, nobody's buying that. But
We're
let's see.
hoping UM makes it through. I mean, this
Well,
is
obviously.
every game. It seems like so far in a tournament, with rare exception, has been pretty tough to pick. But,
the tournament it's impossible, but it's been fun to watch and good for the locals. I'm rooting hard for Miami tonight. Obviously.
I'm going to be with Jim Larinaga tonight.
But let's get to the important stuff. So today, first of all, I'm giddy. Well, I do have to bash the banks, those motherfuckers at the banks. Because
Your money's not available for 3 days.
Yeah, how long is that?
So get this. All right.
This is a rather substantial deposit for your account, Mr. Mayo.
Well, let's face it. Right now, my account before this check was in the double digits. It's at $71 left.
Oh, nice.
My,
What bank are you banking with?
Well, I have several banks because, people have found out you want to spread around in case one fails these days. But now my main account is it used to be SunTrust. Now it's called Truist.
Truist, which sucks. Truist.
See, I have a great bank. When a
let's-
substantial check comes in, they just make it good right away.
Well, let's say that you put in a substantial check in the upper mid 5 figures.
Yeah.
Guess how much is immediately available for my gambling?
$2,500.
$275.
Oh my God, man. That's bad.
You don't have enough to go out to the track today. Are we
I
gonna
do
the
have
show
enough.
without you? Yeah?
Thankfully, we have the business account that I'm
Yeah.
draining.
Oh, good.
You
Yeah.
got your checks.
There goes
so
Lubie's capital. Should I not put this in right away?
No, we're good.
In
No,
case
you got
lose
it.
the
It's
double?
all there. It's all
Yeah.
there. No, but the
that's already been
275 immediately. Then $5,000 becomes available to me supposedly tomorrow, and then the rest I got to.
It takes them no time to verify these funds.
They're motherfuckers.
That's ice cold. Now, what are they doing? Like a baseball team that takes a season ticket holder money and then demands playoff money way in advance, and they just collect the interest? Or
That's
I
it.
mean,
That's their game. That's why these banks are motherfuckers. Banks and insurance companies are the biggest robber barons, and don't ever feel bad about stiffing a bank or an insurance company.
I
That's
don't,
my
and I've stiffed many. I'm thinking in my lifetime, I'm way ahead on banks.
I will never stiff the mom and pops, the pool cleaners,
Yeah.
the lawn service people. They always get my money. But
Yeah.
sometimes the banks, they've already gotten theirs. So,
There was a time they were very liberal with loans of any type, and unfortunately, when it came time to pay them back,
Learn that lesson.
I was stuck.
Oh, man. Hey, let's talk horses because it's a good weekend.
Yeah,
first of all,
Louisiana Derby, and
I'm giddy.
what else?
I'm giddy about going out to the track today for the Lunchbox show.
Uh-oh.
Tony Segreto is supposed to come on.
Oh,
out,
yeah.
that's going to be fun. I think have some other friends in town that might come out. My daughter's going to the beach. I'm giving her the car. She's dropping me at Gulfstream, and then I'm just going to spend the rest of the day there.
Tell her to bring those stone crabs if you're
That's
mother
right.
threw 'em out.
Oh no, Michelle's eating them,
Yeah.
so she's gonna have them for dinner tonight. And no, I'm sure. I don't know what we're gonna get today, and I do got to give condolences. Joe B. He lost his dad this week. I
Oh,
don't
Oh,
I
jeez.
don't
such a good
know-
guy too, Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his father had a cancer battle that finally
Ah.
ended this week. He was up in Ocala. I'm not sure if Joe's back at the track today or not. If he's not, understandable. But Tony Segreto will be on the lunchbox. That'll be great. I'm going to plunge my guts out with the remainder of the $275 available to me
May as well
at
spend
this
that.
point.
Yeah.
And then it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, but maybe it's for my own benefit and protection that they do these.
No,
things.
no,
And
it's strictly for their benefit. And,
my money. I want my
avarice
money.
and
They're
greed.
wearing it. Where's my money? Where's my
Yeah.
money?
Exactly.
Yeah, you are. You're the guy with the wig, and what was
Yeah,
it?
in
I wanna see Jimmy.
Goodfellas.
Maury,
Goodfellas,
yeah,
Goodfellas, Maury. Tomorrow's the contest race is going to be a good one. It's the 10th race, the Melody of Colors, 5 furlongs on the turf again. A lot of these turf sprint stakes. A field of 13, including and also eligible. So it's going to be a wide open affair for the contest people on the lunchbox. And then, of course, tomorrow, big day in the fairgrounds in New Orleans. It's Louisiana Derby Day, a whole bunch of big stakes races. It's funny, Instant Coffee, Louis Saez is going over there to ride for Brad Cox. I noticed that talk about Schadenfreude. Last week you were talking about Schadenfreude, which is when people kind of rejoice in the downfall and failure of others.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't know for sure, but I'm guessing the Bradar household of Doug and Caton
Giroux.
You don't think
Florent
they're in for
Giroux
Florent Giroux, who
has
completely
fallen off
stiffed
the
them by
mat.
surprise? Yeah.
He's in the race on
Yeah.
the longest shot of the 3 that Brad Cox. He used to be like the first call rider for Brad
Right.
Cox. It seems like he's on the outs, and Florent Giroux was the 7th leading rider in the country and is winning Grade 1 stakes last year. And
Is there a
every
measure
week-
of satisfaction in that, in your mind?
Yes.
If it was you,
Absolutely.
I hate it, but
Okay.
yes, 100%. When
He
someone
he ditched Doug Bradar as his jockey
you
agent
screws up,
at the end of the last year when they had nothing but success. They had a great ride, and now you can't find Florent Giroux with a magnifying glass
Yeah.
and a GPS system because he's just like he's on long shots every week. He's not finding the winner's circle, and I have not talked to anybody to confirm this, but I just imagine that they're kind of
he was really, I
having
mean,
that.
a money rider, though. I mean, with Doug Bradar. I mean, that was an odd
Yeah,
move
no, it
to
was,
leave
they
that
were
guy.
they were winning
They had had
Grade 1s
such
everywhere.
success, yes,
Saratoga on a Saturday, Dilmar on a Sunday.
on a lot of
They'd go back-
favorites
it was
around
like-
the country. Yeah,
Yeah, it was good.
Big
Hey, I know
racing,
you got another guest coming, but
yeah, we do.
I
You got
do
any,
like
picks?
Instant Coffee in he's the chalk, but there's some other good ones. I do like the Pletcher horse, Kings Barnes, Flevin Pratt in the Louisiana Derby at 6-1, and I think I like Kenny McPeak. You always got to watch out for the number 10 Dennington. So I think that's going to be my play, is a little bit of a and Tom Amos. So I'm going to do a 2-3. 2, 3, 6, 10 bucks at the Louisiana Derby. That's going to be my play of the week with all this money I now have stuffing my pockets.
All right, don't get on Tony about the bread at Texas Roadhouse. I know you had like a cold roll in a basket.
No, I loved it. I love the bread service. I'm not saying a bad word about Texas.
Was hectic.
No, everything was. Look, I'm not going to say a bad word about any sponsors.
And now that you're seeing the world through the same rose-colored glasses as Segredo, I will be the cynic in the group. So that's great.
There you go.
All right, Michael. We'll see you later.
I'll see you guys out there at about
We will
noon.
see you in a couple hours.
Excellent.
Racing form in hand. All right, that's Mike Mayo, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Spinelli is going to join us here, and he has a podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. The guy is great, and he was the guy that tipped us off about Drake. That was before we knew they were going to be in a matchup with the University of Miami, and let's face it, that was no small assignment for Miami to prevail in that ball game. Now, Miami played a horrible game. Would you say that was well, Lubie? You're trying to dig up Scott. Is that what's happening?
No, I thought we were going to go to a break and then.
Okay. All right. Let's do that. You can find Scott Spinelli. So we'll come back. We're sticking with you for a little while longer. We'll get some tournament insight. This guy's really good. Coach at what? BC? A couple of other Division I schools?
Maryland. He's personally coached Chris Middleton.
Really knows his stuff.
He knows basketball, and he's a really fun and good analyst.
Yeah, very good. So we'll enjoy that conversation, and I'll bring that to you in a moment. Now that
The time.
This Mayo has had a life-changing, experience, has he not? Remember how dour he was? He was sour. He was bitter. He was like, you know what? You, DeForest, go fuck yourself. You know what? If I want to eat a cheeseburger, what are you talking about, Michael? I don't care if you eat a cheeseburger. Have it with, French fries and coleslaw. But he was getting bitter with people. Oh, are you kidding me? You like the fish? But now look at him, man. He's making peace with mortal enemies. Unbelievable. All right, we're coming back in a moment. Now that
The time.
it's 9:12.
Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segredo here. Since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapist, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
This comes from the great Defo Lama. It's the bets you don't make, the chances you don't take, that can compromise an otherwise incredible life, my friend.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on The Defo Show.
All the jokes are applicable about bracket busting, and especially so even after the first day of the NCAA tournament. That was great. And it's been consistent throughout. Just one thrilling game after another, one big upset after another, really delivering. And we haven't even got to we're about midway through the tournament as we speak. We welcome to the show, and this guy was brilliant. He was the first guy. We asked him, hey, the usual question, right, Lubie? Hey, you got any sleeper teams out there that you think might make some noise? And he came up with Drake. And even though they got knocked out in the first round, they certainly made some noise around here, as it looked like they were going to easily defeat the University of Miami, and came in as billed by Scott Spinelli, who joins us here in the program. Scott, a former head coach, Division I basketball, and has a podcast out now that's also outstanding on Believe, BLEAV, where we're featured with After Hours. We welcome Scott back to the program. Scott, how are you?
Excellent, guys. Thanks for having me. What a fun tournament thus far.
Oh, it's been a blast. I don't know. I mean, I guess the Fairleigh Dickinson thing stands out because, teams in that spot were like 1 in 150 in the history of the 1 versus 16 seed. And that seemed impossible, didn't it? I mean, there were people, we were talking to one of our handicappers that comes on our Degenerate Friday show earlier this morning. And he said he actually knew a guy, a very credible and successful gambler who went money line Purdue. He was so convinced, and he had to lay 6,500 to win 100 on that. So I would imagine, to make it worthwhile, this guy was betting, anywhere between 65 and 650,000 on a proposition that I don't know. I mean, I've been sick a couple of times from my gambling endeavors, but no matter how successful or how much money you have, that had to be an awful feeling. But how is that possible? Zach Edey screaming for the ball for 10 minutes. Oh, he's got that wing, all the way up, above the backboard. All he had to do, anybody could have lobbed the ball into him at any time. He had inside position. He wasn't necessarily being out-muscled by anybody. And they never get the ball to him. They keep chucking up bricks from three-point land. Could you have ever seen that happening? Fairleigh Dickinson beating Purdue in the first game.
Well, look, I'm not going to say I saw that happening. I mean, we called Princeton. They're still going. We've called some teams that we thought were going to do quite well. But at the same time, I never would have thought Fairleigh Dickinson to beat them. But let's take a step back now and think about Purdue. Look, Purdue plays a certain style of play. Their identity is their half-court defense is who they are. They lock you in, and then they get you into the half-court offensively, and they play through the big fella. So it was kind of not an easy way, but there was a game plan that you could kind of implement that would give that team problems if they weren't going to change the way they were going to play against a smaller, quicker, faster team with more experienced guards. And all they really did was what we call spy. They spied one of their guys. They took Mason Gillis's guy, defender, and they just basically spied him and put him in the paint. So there was always that shadow lurking. They were thinking, hey, there's two guys on Edey showing, a lot of help and making Purdue beat you from the perimeter. And they didn't really do a good job of making shots. And I think the pressure got to them.
Well, and then on top of that, you had Fairleigh Dickinson then going against our Cinderella team in the tournament. And that's Florida Atlantic, which I don't know. I mean, they had an excellent record. They had that long run winning streak that, exceeded 20 games.
Yep.
And obviously, have some talent there. And, a coach, Dusty May, we thought that was a stripper at Tootsie's when they offered us a Dusty May interview. Who the hell is this guy? And, he comes off tremendously. And, they pull off now 3 upsets in succession. Well, I guess, Fairleigh Dickinson, that had to be just, an unbelievable luck of the draw where they don't have to face Purdue in the second round. Instead, they're facing Fairleigh Dickinson. And here they are now, in the Elite Eight.
Well, that's what makes the NCAA tournament so fun and so unpredictable because it's all about matchups and, who gets beat in the previous game, if you move on and who you're playing. But again, I look, this Florida Atlantic team now, they're very well drilled defensively. They get after you. And last night, I think the Tennessee, I don't know if you want to call it the hangover win versus Duke, but they weren't nearly as sharp offensively, nor were they as physical defensively as they had been. And look, Florida Atlantic, who was outmatched physically in terms of size at almost every position, out-rebounded them significantly. And that just showed that their effort, they were a more determined team. They were scrappy. And again, when they do all of those things, now they're getting confidence because they're getting stops. They're already an excellent 3-point shooting team, and they started making some shots late, and that was the difference.
It had Tobin Anderson there with Fairleigh Dickinson, and of course we mentioned Dusty May. And interestingly, I mean, Anderson, who was so animated, we were joking with Dusty May. We had him on the show earlier this week. I mean, he looked like the Wizard of Westwood compared to Anderson on the sideline there. I mean, stoic in his presence. And Anderson bolts to Iona. I wanted to get your thought on that. Of course, this was part of yet another just wild coaching carousel where Patino gets a job at St. John's. The ink's not even dry on Patino's new 6-year contract, and Anderson's named the head coach at Iona. And what kind of fate do you foresee for Dusty May? Will he return to FAU in your opinion? Now that I mean, you have to look at this guy and say, pretty incredible what he's done. He's got more wins than anybody else in the country.
It's a great point. I mean, look, the coaching carousel you just mentioned, Fairleigh Dickinson guy left very quickly. I don't think a lot of people, I never watched his teams play, but he does a really good job.
Yeah, he's great.
Obviously, yeah, coach. I mean, Patino, look, anytime you're rerouted in this profession, and I've gone through it myself.
Yeah.
Two things happen to you as a coach. You either get better and you become that much more, passionate about your career, or you kind of sidestep and say, I'm going to kind of pass it up and go do something else. Well, Coach Patino, left for a couple of years in college, and now he's coming back. He was already a Hall of Famer. He's that much more knowledgeable. And here's the other thing. His fire is reignited with his passion. And so I look for him to do big, big things at St. John's. And as it relates to Dusty May, look, he's deserving of an opportunity somewhere else. But I'll tell you what, there's not a lot even open right now in terms of the bigger step up. And so with them moving conferences next year, look, I think FAU ponies up and they keep a very, very good coach there.
Yeah, no, great story being written. All right, some of your favorite things that you've seen so far. I mean, started out with Furman. Yeah. And, knocking off Virginia, and while that wasn't, a major surprise in terms of the line on the ball game, was only like 5 and a hook. But still, I mean, most people knew Furman as a bad cop and not a good basketball team.
Yeah, look, I think the favorite things for me, I'm not sure there's one specific moment, but here's what makes the NCAA tournament probably the best sporting event. Maybe the World Cup and the NCAA tournament are two events that you just get so many people behind you. There's really nothing like it. Not only is your team, your teammates, everybody's pulling for one another, the coaches, the coaching staff, your families, the administration, the alumni, the student body with the school spirit. I mean, there's just nothing like that many people pulling for you in a game situation. And I think that's, to me, what makes the NCAA tournament so special. Similar, again, the World Cup, it's country, right? But, obviously, it's a lot bigger. But at the same time, I think that's, for me, the most favorite thing, that just watching, the camaraderie, the school spirit, and the support, and how fun it really is.
Look, in sports, it's not automatic that the teams that are on a run into the postseason will continue that run, but you see it a lot in football when it's a wild card team that'll make a run to a Super Bowl. And it feels like, to me, at least this year, that feeling is sort of continued. When you see Alabama down the stretch, whatever the reasoning is, coming together and playing hot basketball. Gonzaga, where every year, the last 2 to 3 years, when they have expectations, have disappointed late, coming together and playing really good basketball down the stretch. When you look at UConn, down the stretch, playing really good basketball. Those three schools so far have played really strong. Gonzaga did have a scare last night, literally. I mean, going to the last seconds before winning to get to the Elite Eight themselves. But those three ball clubs have really seemed to take a hot run at the end and take it into the tournament. What do you see going forward for those clubs and the rest of the field as we get down to the nitty gritty?
Well, look, last night we didn't have the first two games. We thought, Arkansas was going to prep and they were going to create some offense for the defense, and they didn't do that. I mean, UConn annihilated them. And then in the other game, we thought Michigan State's culture, would prevail over a team that was put together, last minute. But we did have the other two teams. We thought Florida Atlantic would win a very low-scoring game, which I think it was, and then we thought Gonzaga would pull it off. But look, moving forward with the teams that you just mentioned, I think Alabama, with all the distractions that they're faced with off the floor, being a 1 seed, they're going to face adversity here tonight against a very older, experienced San Diego State team. How they react, to your point about are they going to be connected, are they going to stay together, or is that distraction that's happened off the floor rear its head? And then when it gets close, or that, they got that 1 seed on their, on their back. I mean, do they end up going through a situation where they break apart? That's going to be, to me, the storyline. I think San Diego State beats them.
Oh, wow.
And I also think, if you asked me, I think Gonzaga, we talked about them throughout the tournament. Nobody's talked about Gonzaga as a team that could win it all. And I think this year, not having the 1 seed, these are kids, guys. Kids face that pressure. They feel the pressure. They're the 1 seed. When the games get tight, the stage is big. I think it's really affected Gonzaga. Now this year they're playing so loose. I mean, that kid pulled up from the logo last night.
Yes.
Late in the game. I mean, I just think this is that magical run that Gonzaga has in them that I think they could have, would have, should have, maybe these other years. But I think, again, that 1 seed was a lot of pressure. That's not on them right now. I really like this Gonzaga team, even against a very hot UConn team in this next game.
Yeah, there was a Coke machine there, I think, in front of that guy.
Exactly.
My God. I mean, you're looking at a guy hoisting one like that, and if that happens at the park, the guy gets killed and his tires get slashed on the way out of there. And it goes in. I mean, it was amazing. Yeah. That was insane. A lot of thriller and Manila type endings. We've been talking about that throughout the tournament. That's been great. All right, Scott Spinelli with us. Just a couple of things. University of Miami. We love Coach Larinaga. We absolutely find him to be a basketball treasure chest. And it's interesting, too. You see some of these parallels because you were in the coaching game where you have a George Mason guy who then goes to Providence and the Providence guy. I mean, they seem to follow in each other's footsteps a lot. A lot of connections there. Coach L has been fantastic. Well, what an asset to the presence of basketball here in town. And this is not a big college basketball following that we have here in South Florida. In fact, I don't think the people in Boca even know they have a team yet. As our friend was saying earlier in the show, a Gucci sale draws more attention than this run to the Elite Eight. But how do you size up Scott Spinelli, Miami tonight, and their chances against Houston?
Well, I got to tell you guys, not to bring back the early show. When we did that Drake show, we did that right prior to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Before the brackets.
When we went back in the brackets, we actually went with Miami just because that was the most difficult matchup for Drake that they could possibly face in that opening round. And the reason why is because of Miami, as you said it, their experience, their guard play, they've got so many different weapons. We thought that was going to be the outcome. We actually had Miami moving into the Sweet 16. But here's where it's going to get really interesting in this game. Houston, with Sasser healthy, they're a Drake defensive-minded team, but only bigger, more athletic, and deeper. And so now you're faced with a team also offensively that is, just as good, probably even more complete, ranked amongst the top in their leagues this year. Houston in almost every category, assisted turnovers, three-point field goal percentage, et cetera. If Sasser's healthy and the way they defend, I think Miami's best chance is to press like they did the other night. Coach Larinaga, just a tremendous coaching move, pressing late in that game against Drake to create some offense for the defense because they couldn't really get anything going in the half court. And I think that's going to be the key tonight. But I think this Houston team, guys, they could, if Sasser's healthy, this is a team that could cut down the net.
Yeah, they're a title contender.
Yeah, I mean, they got the guy Shed. He was also, I guess, slightly impaired by injury, supposedly. And then the other kid, Mark, just took over the game the last time. Although Houston's been challenged, so we're hoping they're very vulnerable, Scott, and that they end up falling flat on their face, and it ruins the whole Jim Nantz finale there at Houston. In Houston, getting crowned champions. All right, where can people catch the podcast? We'd love to have people that are in our audience find you more often.
Yep, it's at Coach _Spinelli, and And obviously through Believe, they do a lot with putting it up on their social media. And look, I mean, the one thing that's kind of been really fun, as you guys know, this time of year we get into the college game, obviously the tournament and the Final Four. Then we kind of swing into the NBA side of it. So that will be happening soon. But yeah, Coach_Spinelli, I appreciate you guys having me. I love being on the show. It's a lot of fun with you guys.
Always great, man. We love having you on too. So we'll do it again next week. And Scott Spinelli, thanks so much for being with us.
Have a great night, guys. Take care.
Have a good weekend.
All right, thanks a lot. Scott Spinelli, man. Knows his stuff, huh?
Oh, no,
I guess we can say he knows his shit. Right? Hey, man, that man knows his shit, man.
He's a lot of fun, and he owns when he's wrong, but his reasoning is always pretty right.
Yeah, a good eye for what's going on. It's nice to hear different perspectives, and even though it's funny too, because it doesn't take too long to kind of educate yourself in this stuff, and that's why I said, I mean, don't let people tell you how to be a sports fan. If you just jumped on the college basketball bandwagon,
good for you.
You're getting your money's worth. I mean, it's really been a thrill a minute. And while my familiarity with it, maybe was I was never like college basketball was never my strong suit in terms of sports, especially after I moved to Miami, where it was OP out of the picture. Now in LA, we followed college basketball very closely, and in New York, we loved college basketball.
It grew up there. That's where that was like the birthplace of college basketball.
And of course, Syracuse, the program evolved while I was attending Syracuse, and then for the ensuing years after.
Great.
While I was still paying attention, they had some very, very good teams. So, I was very familiar with it. And, I had that nice run, as a professional here, calling basketball in those Big East years with the University of Miami. It was great. It was only a couple of seasons, but, it was a great experience, to see the way people react to the game around the country and in different cities and what it means to people. But it just never caught on here to the extent where it became like typical, daily conversation with people. Where, everybody go, hey, you think the Dolphins are going to draft a running back? But, and there I go, criticizing sports fans again. But I'm not being critical. I'm just saying that's a fact, right? I mean,
reality.
We're not a baseball town, and we're not a college basketball town. And we're kind of a mixed bag of a lot of crap is what we're a conundrum here.
Yes,
that's what we are. I know what we are. We're a horse racing town. We're in for the track. Always been great with the thoroughbreds here in South Florida. So Louie and I will be out there later on with Mike Mayo, and I just hope that this euphoria that he's experiencing over making this score last for a long time, because
or at least till he starts drinking again. At least get one more week out of it.
Another week of that, and then then start having him have the Bloody Marys before the shows.
I'm waiting for him.
I like when I see a beer in front of this guy instead of a cell phone. Let's put it that way. All right, Tony Segreto is supposed to join us out there too, so it's going to be a nice big thing for the South Florida Live people here. All of us will be out there at the Gulfstream Park racetrack today, so come join us, say hello, and we'll see you later on. And it's been great being with you. We'll see you later on as we leave you now that.
The time.
It's 9:33.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.